or not. I've tried 3 times. This is so crazy. I mean, Lionsgate portal, Mercury retrograde, you take your pick, Leo. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's just so many things going on, but I don't have any clue if you guys can even hear me. I don't even know if this is going. It's saying that it's going, but if I like it won't, I don't understand. So let me sit with them. Do we want to do this today? Because I was like, maybe they don't want to do this today. Okay. Is it in our greatest and highest good to keep moving forward, Spirit? Okay, do you want us to move forward like this in a podcast format? Is there something you want me to start over and do another one and do it in a different way, or? Okay, I'm not really sure what is happening. It's like there's no camera. I can't see anything. I can't, no, I can't, if you're here, like, let me know, because, like, it's so bizarre. I mean, I feel like crying and I want to give up. Only because my week has been, like, really, really rough, and maybe you guys are going through this too. I don't know. Let me ask Spirit. Is it in the tribe's greatest and highest good for me to stop this and start over? Are we meant to be in black today? Well, that makes me kind of sad because the fucking altar's so awesome. And I love this deck. This deck is so magical. I mean, hence making magic oracles. So you know what? If you can't beat them, join them. So I'm just going to jump in. I called in the big guns, and whoever's meant to be here, I was like, whoever's meant to be here, meaning like from the other side, So let's see what messages we have today. The title of this is New Earth Resonance Blue, but I have to read you something first. So this is what I found about resonance. And it says resonance happens when the frequency of the initial object's vibration matches the resonant frequency or natural frequency of the second object. And the synonyms are echoing, sound, ringing, reverberation, and vibration. And then I was reading all these different things, and oh gosh, when I first looked down, it was 222. Hi, Baba. And then now I just looked down, it was 333. So the energy of, it says the energy level of atoms. I'm feeling a really strange energy right now that I can't really explain. Seriously, if anybody is here, even if you just give me like a thumbs up, you don't even have to like say your name or whatever. I can't tell if we're actually going. So, and I don't want to like end it. And I mean, this was literally the third time the first 2 times I started it, and it's like, it said, end stream. The first time it did it, I was like, oh shit. But then when it did it again the second time, I'm like, okay, I get it. You don't, you want me to go in black, you know what I mean? You want me to go to black, no picture, no whatever. But then it did start with showing it at first, and then it went black. So I'm like, okay, what in the world? So the first card that I pulled is the Goddess card, number 24, Healing Feminine Energy. So even though you can't see them, I'll make like a cool little, I'll make something so you guys can see it. And I don't know what YouTube is such a funny place. I mean, lately I've been having like really weird things. Drink some water. I don't know about you guys, but like, I really don't feel like I fit in anywhere. It's been a very interesting energy. And the last 48 hours, actually basically since um, Leo season started on Tuesday. So it's been almost a week, but every day has gotten progressively worse in terms of like my energy. And I have to like fight really, really hard for the good stuff. Yesterday, I was working on the yard for like 4 hours straight, and it's like I found myself over and over replaying stuff, and like it's almost like my brain has gone rogue, and it's like a computer program, like a virus that just keeps playing over and over. And I'm like, okay, all right, like what do you want me to see, or what do you want me to say, what do you want me to, right now I'm getting these hunger pains that I can't really explain, which is kind of funny because I did eat lighter over the last 48 hours, but or 36 hours, but it's not that. It feels more like a very human, like spirit like wants to get me in my body right now. It's like they want me to connect with the hunger pains inside of my stomach, inside of my heart, inside of my mind, inside of my soul. They had me put a few links, excuse me, in the description box. So if you are called to, go and check them out. This card just came out. Oh, number 17, fire. Number 17 is a really big one for our tribe. The element of fire heralds new life and positive transformation. You know why I think I'm feeling a little sad? It's not just the picture. I think I'm feeling a little sad because um, it's not that I don't, let's put it this way, I don't feel you guys like I normally do. Like even when nobody shows up, or even if just like one or two people show up, like I can feel you guys. And so that's why I'm like, I guess there's a part of me that's concerned that this isn't even, it says it's recording and it says that I'm live, but I don't feel connected to you guys. I don't know how to explain it. Like I don't feel connected to the internet and I don't feel connected to you guys. So I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's just recording and nobody's going to be able to see it. I don't know. Maybe it says it's recording and maybe they'll have me do another one. I have no idea. But so if for some reason you showed up and you couldn't get on, I apologize, but there's obviously a reason for it. So number 27 is our third card, the festival. So the goddess said healing feminine energy. Fire said the element of fire heralds new life and positive transformation. And the festival says creates an energetic blueprint for a fantastic event. So I think what they're trying to say is something major like is coming. I can feel it. I heard that term again, something wicked this way comes. Also, when I looked down, it was 8/17. All I saw was 17, and then I saw 8, and then 8/18 is like my mom's death day, but like it skipped right over that and went to 8/19. So I feel like there was something on the calendar on August 19th. So let's look at the calendar. We're going to look at a few things. We're going to talk about a few things, even if it is just for me. I'm learning a lot, right? Okay. So 8/19 has a heart around it. So there's something that's connected to that third quarter moon reading that's coming up again. There's not a link for it here, but if you follow the breadcrumbs to the link on the, we just did a pick a card and group reading for Leo season, Leo moon, and the Lionsgate portal. And there's a link for it. But if not, if you just look at my videos, look at the third quarter moon reading for June, In fact, it was, what day did I, when was that? So it went out somewhere on June 18th or 19th, which is interesting because that kind of brings us back to Juneteenth. And Juneteenth, I went through a lot of anger and frustration with the sitting American president because of how much he didn't celebrate it. It was really gross. And it's like, how do you say you're a racist without saying you're a racist? I mean, it was just so creepy. And lately, I feel like that's kind of like what's been going on with a lot of things and a lot of people. Like, how do you say you're disconnected without saying you're disconnected? Like, I can say that with so many things. The latest podcast Prophet episode that I did was really in depth and profound, and I almost didn't post it because honestly, when I looked down, it was 10:07, which is also 17 again, which is also the number 8. It keeps coming around. 8's the number of infinity. That's right. Like, I just feel like right now we're like at the beginning phases of the Lionsgate portal, and basically the next 3 weeks are going to be so fucking off the chain crazy. that I feel like right now it's like this kind of calm before the storm, which is maybe why, we connected this way instead of like in another way, because, Spirit had me put hashtags and like I did all these things, but yet it's like no one's here, and or you're here and you can't come through, and I don't know why. But it's very interesting, and I always go with the flow of spirit. So August 19th is going to be big, and I don't know what it is, but they just want us to keep that in mind. Now, also in August, so right now we are going to get more to the cards and the new earth and resonance blue and all that. But on the 30th, on Wednesday of this week, if you're watching it in real time, Chiron goes retrograde until January 2nd, 2026. And then, looking on the week ahead basically is what they're having me do. And then August 1st is this coming Friday, and it is the first quarter moon, which is about taking action on our, the intentions. And I'm getting the vibe that like maybe some of you haven't really set any intentions for the new moon, and Spirit's trying to say to you, like, this is the most powerful. I know, I feel like we say these things a lot, but I really do mean it, and I'm really getting it from Spirit. I saw 1156, which is 1111, which is the angels, that they're really serious about it. Not everybody that watches these videos or that's on this channel are earth angels. You're light workers, you're warriors, you're, amazing, um, you're an earth angel in terms of like that you see the world differently, but like there are some people like myself, like we are actual angels that are living in human bodies here at this time. Now, I don't know if that's the 144,000 they speak of, or, whatever. I do feel like we are kind of all over the planet and like kind of like little push pins as leaders. And it would make sense. There's billions of people. So, it would make sense that you would have about 144,000 human angels that would be leaders all over the planet that are help elevate um, the energy and the vibration, which is why I believe they turned to this energy of new earth and the resonance blue energy. I apologize for that. When I looked down, it was 13. And getting back to the goddess, 13 is the number of the goddess. And if you add it together, it's the number 4. And 4 is about laying a strong foundation. So I'm hearing it's time to lay a strong foundation for the path of your purpose for this new moon energy. Okay. So it's it's unlike anything we've really been through before, and everything we say and do and think at this time is what's going to keep resonating and playing over and over again in our minds and our bodies and our souls. We have the strength, we have the power. Now is the time, now is the hour, this is the time. Wicked witches, white witches, whatever you aligned with, because wicked doesn't necessarily, wicked is like when we think of wicked, right, and we think of Alphaba, it's Alphaba is like the one witch out of the whole fucking place that actually has, she's coming from heart, she's coming from soul, she's coming from integrity. She's like, whoa, that's hurting people, don't do that, where the rest of them are like, yeah, we're witches, but wink wink, um they're, so wicked means that you stand up for others, but it's wicked to some people because you're standing up against the norm. Glinda's not necessarily a bad witch, right? She's like a white witch, but she's like, she doesn't feel like that's her path. Now, I haven't watched the second installment of Wicked, but I have seen the musical, and it's been so many years since I've seen it, many, many, many moons ago. But I do feel like that's what they're trying to say, is that like there's a little bit of Galinda in all of us, right? That like wants to be loved, wants to be recognized, wants to be noticed, wants to be special, wants to be, oh wow, thanks for coming in. So this was my third attempt. I'm just gonna break in because somebody stopped by. Now I can't see you unless you want to be seen. You don't have to stay, but just to let you know that for whatever reason, Spirit that's exciting. So even if they don't say stay, I'm like, that's cool. That lets me know that you guys, cool. Somebody came on. That means it's recording. It just means it was meant to come on like that. And sometimes when people come on and they're like, oh, but that's okay. So thank you, whoever that was. Thank you for bringing your energy and your light so that we can know. I really was okay with it one way or the other, honestly. Because I knew it would probably record and upload and whatever, but that means whoever is meant to be here is meant to be here. And if no one's here, that's meant to be too. That's what I was saying. Like, I feel you guys, but I don't feel you guys. But that would make sense because maybe you're doing other things or whatever. But like, I'm like, your higher selves don't always like reach out. A lot of the times, the energy that I feel is the human that's coming through, right? The anxiety, the depression, the sadness, the happiness, the joy. I'll feel it, whatever it is. So, it could be that, the energy is, let's put it this way. In my experience, I just recently found out in the last, what, year or so, maybe, I don't remember how long, but that my third deacon was in Leo. But so many times throughout my life, I've had a lot of people, especially like people like myself, are like, "Are you a Leo?" I'm like, "That's so weird." I'm like, people ask me that all the time. But when I found out my third deacon was in Leo, it made sense because it just exasperates my triple Sag. That's a lot of fire, and then my moon's in Scorpio, which kind of like kind of levels me out. Um, but getting back to the story in Wicked is, you know, there's this defining moment where Galinda can choose, Alphaba's saying like, come with me, like let's go like make this right, like let's show the world what real magic is. And she's like, but I don't want to go away from the matrix, is basically what's happening there. So, oh, I just got the chills. So I feel like 1708 and then 1709, these could be I feel these could be ages, numbers, whatever special to you. It could be a jersey number. I don't know. But when I saw 1708 and then 9, 17 has been our number for a long time. A lot of our tribe members, especially one of our tribe members specifically, like she's very touched and she's said over and over many times, she's like, 17's my number, 17's my number. And to the term when like they were traveling and they didn't know which way to go, they were living out of their vehicle and this person like pulled in front of them and like it was like 1717 or something like that, and she was like, holy shit, and she's like, follow that car, like I don't remember. I'm like, I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember the whole story, but it was something like that. So spirit does send us numerology and signs and things like that, especially the light workers. A little ant just came into my orbit again, so here comes the ants. Yesterday, this really beautiful magical fly, one of those flies that's like, it's like metallic looking, like metallic green. It was a really cool fly, and now thinking of it, it kind of makes me think of Alphaba, right, in the green and all that. But there, when I opened the portal today, when you know, I called in is all of the, Syrians and Orion and obviously the earth energy. But then I also called in the angels and archangels, and I called in the Pleiadians and the Arcturians, because when I saw resonance blue, when I was pulling this together, I literally saw the Arcturians, kind of like how Alphaba's green. It's, I saw the blue. And it's interesting that Alphaba's green, because for years we've always thought of green as like, oh, she's green, she's different. But green's the heart chakra color. So it's kind of interesting that, these books and these stories were written so long ago, but yet there have been star seeds coming here since the beginning of time. It's just we have an influx of star seeds now because we needed like warriors. We needed a whole entire, army of warriors to turn this fucking boat around, right? Like if you're a boat and, you're off in sea and, whatever, it's like the best captains know to go with, it's like if you try to go sideways in a wave, you're gonna fucking roll. You have to go into the wave. And a lot of people are like, no, that's crazy. It's like, but you do though. You either need to go with the wave and go, you know what I mean? Like moving forward, or go against the wave moving forward. But you never go sideways, because the fucking waves will roll the boat, and it doesn't matter how much the boat weighs. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's like, if those waves are coming, they're gonna fucking roll you over. And Defying Gravity came on while I was setting up and getting ready, and I sat with spirit for it for a second, and I was listening to the lyrics again, and that's when you really understand like the story 2022, and then I saw 2023. um Ooh, which I do feel like those are years, like 2022 and 2023 were super pivotal years. We are on the uptake, we are on the upswing, but the shadow is doing everything in its power to fight against us, right? So we need to fight back and we need to go against the grain, against the wave. That is how we're going to get through this, you guys. I didn't want to, it wasn't about airing out my dirty laundry with me and Alder on the last podcast, Profit. Um, it was that I was feeling all the fire energy. I was feeling the retrograde energy, you know. Even a lot of astrologers said that it's very interesting to have almost the entire retrograde season in Leo, and during the Lionsgate portal. It's very interesting. And also Mercury goes direct, you know, getting back to the calendar, Mercury goes direct on a Sunday, which will be our last transmission. I don't know if that means Sacred Sunday's going away or if it's just that they're showing me that, you know, today is, even though it's episode 12, it is also the first episode where the Lionsgate portal opened yesterday. So next Sunday, I'm really excited to see what happens because it'll be the third, and it'll be the Sacred Sunday before the pinnacle of the Lionsgate portal. But on the 8th, the Friday, but the most interesting thing is our last one will be on the 10th, which comes out numerically to the number 9. We're in a 9-year, and Mercury goes direct on that day. So it's going to be very interesting. Now, the Lionsgate portal won't close for another few days, but it's kind of cool that, you know, we'll be in that energy. So I'm excited to see what happens. They've been having me post interesting things that I didn't realize even needed to be posted. I'm also feeling a 5 energy. August 5th is going to be really big or really huge for somebody. I don't know if it's for all of us, but the 4th of August, it says civic holiday in Canada. I don't know what that means, but that's on my calendar. So I feel like I want to say it for any of our Canadians. But yeah, they're getting really serious about, you know, what our intentions are, and that by the end of this week, August 1st, they really want us to take action on whatever dreams we've been holding back on, and take some serious action, like do something like that you haven't done, you know, whether it's something in the arts or if it's, you know, something in your home or something, you know. Now remember that we are in retrograde season, and by then Chiron will be retrograde. So we will be like, what, 5, 6 planets retrograde, energies retrograde. That's really intense. So remember that whatever those planets align with, we're going to be looking at the dim, like underbelly energy of those planets. So we know that it's Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, Mercury, and I think it's Jupiter as well. If not, I think Jupiter's on a hiatus from retrograde, but they're going retrograde again. I know that at some point, I think maybe in September. I'm not an astrologer. I just take notes and try to remember things that have happened in other years. But this is really powerful because we're also, oh my gosh, how could I forget that? Thank you, Spirit. This is the grand dame, though, is that we've got Friday, August 8th is the Lionsgate portal's like most intense energy. And then we're also going to be going into the full moon in Aquarius on the 9th. And then Mercury's going direct on the 10th. So I'm excited for that Sacred Sunday. I don't know what's going to happen. I have a feeling they're going to have me do something really magical for the Lionsgate portal on the 8th. I just don't know yet. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe so that, and put on that little notification bell so that when something comes in. And yeah, I was talking earlier about how YouTube being silly because they have a post section and a my community section. So basically the post section and the my community section are the same. You can you can go to my community, and if you want to post something, whether it's promoting yourself or your work, or if you want to talk about anything, if you want to bring up a discussion, if you want to plan something, with other light workers, if you want to post a video that really inspired you or some music, anything like that, the My Community section is there for the subscribers. So if you're a subscriber of the Magical Medium, you're more than welcome to do that. Okay, I encourage it. But recently, when I did the last big group pick a reading that Spirit had me put out, there's a link in the description box right now. They had me post pictures of all of these different cards from the deck. So thank you for hanging in there. I apologize if you were inundated. I don't like to be inundated myself. In fact, I have a friend who in recent months, for years, they would just like dump me, and I finally had to be like, dude, I love you and I really do enjoy looking at your videos and your pictures. I'm like, but when you dump on me, it's really not cool. I'm like, because it's interesting too, because almost every time they dumped on me, it was when I was working, and I work from my phone. So it was really frustrating because I needed to be online. And even if I put it in do not disturb, it was like, she's so powerful and I'm so powerful and we're so connected that like it would just keep, it would like, my screen would go and like I'd see a picture, I'd see a video, and I'm like, and I'm talking like 26 items, where finally they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. They're like, I forgot to ask you. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, but please try and keep that in mind. They're like, okay. So, it's like, you don't want to dump on someone. You don't want to photo dump or, um, you know, any of that stuff. I've done it to others as well. Interesting, whenever something irritates us or, takes us out of our flow, it's usually connected to something that we did to somebody else. I know I've done that to people too. So, it's not about whatever. It's about communicating with somebody like, hey, one of our tribe members, one of our other tribe members, she and I, we text a lot, and she did the same thing. She's like, I went to this wedding. She's like, she's like, I'll send you pictures if you want to see them. I think I said, sure, I don't remember. But anyway, I thought that was great, because that's really what you want to ask somebody, for some reason, sometimes people will send me pictures and I'm like, I don't really want to see these pictures, or like somebody will have like a really weird energy. And I'm like, I don't know why, but I don't want to be in this person's energy. I'm like, can you not send that, So it's interesting. It's just interesting. They're having me move some cards around, and I'm trying to figure out where they want me to put this one, because I feel like it wants to go here. But so people have come on and gone off and come on and gone off. So that shows me that it's coming through. And sometimes we can't be there for others. Sometimes we just need to be in our own energy, and that's okay. I'm going to be here whether you guys show up or not, and I'm happy to do it. So getting back to the reading and the New Earth Resonance Blue, like I said, when I saw the Resonance Blue, I felt the Arcturian energy really strongly. So either you're Arcturian or the Arcturians are calling on you to work with them. I always say the Arcturians are kind of like the intellect of the universe. They're like the intellectuals of the universe. I believe I come from them. I believe they're from the angel realm. But it's hard to say, I see new things all the time, especially in recent weeks. I've been experiencing energies that are not of anything I've really experienced before, which is really cool, but also sometimes can be kind of confusing, because I'm like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. Like, I don't even know who these beings are or what these beings are, but they come in human form a lot though, so it's not like I'm thrown off, you know what I mean? It's more like the energy feels foreign to me. But the one thing that has been coming through a lot when they've been speaking of that is the resonance, is the vibration and the reverberation energy. Like, if you're the frequency, that was what this was all about. I put a link in the description box for that as well. That's the song that came to me, because I said to Spirit, I knew we were working with the Making Magic Oracle deck, but I felt like we needed a theme or a title or something. And that's when I said, can you show me in the next song? And right when it came through, I've seen this one before. I've worked with it before, many times actually. And so I was actually really excited. I was like, oh, cool. I was like, I like this energy. It's a nice meditation, and it's just like a 10-minute one. So if you're looking for, like, a break during the day, whether you're at work or, somewhere, you might want to go sit in your car and just put it on. So there's a link for that in the description box. Um, but I feel like what they're trying to say is that if you're feeling like really low and real heavy, like if your energy feels heavy, it could be where your placement is in your chart. Like for myself, normally this time of year, I'm so excited and grateful because I feed off the Leo energy in the most beautiful way. Like I'm just like a firecracker, And I've been creating really fun videos this week. So it's interesting. It's like, it's almost like there's me, like my true soul me, that's like loving and bright and full of fire and fun and just wants to keep the fun going. And then there's this other side of me, which is the human, the third dimensional energy that just wants to drag me down. I mean, I've been having so many doubts again about Alder and I, and it's been super frustrating. I spoke about it in the podcast, Profit, about what is love, because I'm like, I don't know, then maybe I don't understand what love means, or maybe I don't, if you're grappling with your love energy for yourself and for others, you may want to check that out. They didn't have me put a link, but it's easy to find. It's got a really cool picture of a knight fighting a dragon, and it says podcast Profit and what is love. So the ant keeps coming up, the fly, an answer about community and finding your people, finding your right people in your right community. I was feeling the energy that I was feeling. I When I was going through those emotions, some of it was resentment, some of it was I just want to detach and move on, But what I feel like Spirit's really trying to show me, that what love is 33. Ooh, I saw 3311, but it was 3211. That's interesting. So maybe you've been seeing 3311 or 1133 or some forms of it, 1313 or 3131. If you've been seeing those, maybe that's a little sign for you right now that Spirit's saying you're on the right track. You're not crazy, so to speak. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. So the love energy is what I feel like they're teaching us, and what the Lionsgate portal is coming in to show us, is that yes, there's unconditional love. We come from unconditional love. We are unconditional love, but the humans do not love unconditionally. Unfortunately, there is not unconditional love for everybody when it comes to the human species understanding. The human energy can be very limiting, and not that it is. It's just that we've been, many millennia, we've been going through these really horrible um, incarnations of humanity that has imprinted on our blood and bone and muscles and tissue. And so it's going to take a minute for it to get out fully. They wanted me to post that because they're like, am I in love with Alder? They're like, I don't know. Are you in love with Alder? Like, what does that mean to you? What does love mean to you? What does in love mean to you? So I'm posing the same questions back to you guys. What is love? What does love mean to you? The goddess came to us first because that's what we need to work on, is healing that feminine energy, because the feminine energy is pure love, right? Like a mother's love is unlike any, it's unmatched. You can't describe it, you know? I mean, I've had conversations with some of my spiritual friends, where I'm like, that are mothers, and I'm like, but what if one of your kids like murdered somebody? Like, could you still love them? They're like, well, I would always love them. I may not understand why they did it or what happened or what twisted inside of them to create such an act, but you know, um, they're like, but I would always love them. They were my child. They were my baby, you know. Especially if you've never seen signs of that, and then all of a sudden it's like, what happened? Was it always there? I mean, that's like a whole other thing, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that my friend went through that. I'm just saying, like, love, people have asked me that a lot. They're like, well, what do you mean? Is love, if it's unconditional, then we have to love everybody. And it's like, yes, then we do. Like, I may not like the sitting American president, but I love him. If anything, I have pity and compassion for him. It takes so much self-loathing and self-hatred to hate others so much, to be against others, to it's like, in what universe do you think it's okay? But they my I know a lot of my blood and bone, it was the same when we'd have arguments, political conversations that would turn into arguments. It became a thing where in my family where like we literally couldn't talk about it anymore because it just was always going to end up badly or poorly. And there were some of us in the group that were very passionate about how we felt. And so, you know, it's like we're always trying to prove the other one wrong, or we're always trying to prove ourselves right. And I feel like that's the whole point, is like we're going to see things differently. You can still love somebody even if you don't agree with them. You can still love somebody even if they're doing something really horrible and heinous. And I feel like that's what they're trying to show us. So, they're having me move some cards around. You'll see it eventually. No worries. Um, but, the fire energy and why this is coming in is, and I'm seeing 17, like August 17th. So there's something that's going to happen during and after the Lionsgate portal. In fact, I almost feel like the Lionsgate portal isn't going to close this year. I don't know how to explain that, but I almost feel like there's going to be like, because, and if for those of you who don't know, you can check out my latest shorts. It's actually an 18 plus or over because I was showing cannabis, and if sometimes they flag me and sometimes they don't. It just depends because it's legal where I live, and I think that some countries, it's like super illegal, so they won't show your videos. So if they put 18 plus, then it's like people get to decide whether they want to watch it. I don't know. But either way, I put 18 plus. But it was really funny because a lot of times Alder will pick up my cannabis for me. I totally trust him. He's like super in tune. And this last time he got me stuff, and I was laughing my ass off by the like titles of them, of like, because they always title the strain of weed. But what I didn't notice until the other day was that one of them is from Sirius Buds, but it's Sirius like the planet, not like Serious in English. It's like Sirius, and it's called Sirius Buds, and it was called Thunderfuck something. And I was like, so anyway, I did a little shorts for that, but in that there is a great description of the Lionsgate portal, and there's a link to I got it from like Astro Style or something. It was like kind of a generic one, but Spirit, that's one that they pulled me to put there. Sometimes those, they're like, they may be generated by this or that, but like they give like a good, like easy description, like a layman's term, so to speak, description of something. And that's kind of like what I felt from that. But basically, Sirius is what they call the spiritual sun. It is the brightest star that we can see with the naked eye from Earth, but it's also connected between what happens is when the Lionsgate portal opens during this time from July 26th until I think it's August 12th. Yeah, August 12th. During that time is when we are aligning with Sirius. And when we align with Sirius and Orion's belt, it's like Orion's belt kind of creates this really cool, like it's like when you look at it, if you looked at it like in a picture, it's all lined up. And so it's because it's our spiritual sun. It's the time, it's kind of like for those of you, especially for the witches, if you're familiar with Samhain, Halloween, Day of the Dead, Dios de los Muertos, it's all this. I love saying that. It's the only time I feel like my Spanish accent is pretty good. I mean, I can really get into it, but you get it. Anyway, but that's when the veil is thin on Earth between all the dimensions and our ancestors. It's kind of like that, but like in the spiritual sense. So it's like when like the angels, when the, you know what I mean? It's like all of these like really energetic light source beings are connected. And it's almost like if there was like a slide from like Sirius to Earth, it's like yay, and you like go down the slide. I don't know why they just gave you that visual. It's awesome. But that's basically what it is. And so during this time is when our gifts are going to be even more heightened. But because of all the retrogrades right now, it's also a time that our earth beings and our rooted energy spirit that's connected to our avatar and our lineage of our avatar, it's really heavy and dense right now. So work with the ant energy, call on the spirit of the ant to help you align with your community and your people. Ask spirit, like, because we're ants, right? Like, but in a good way. We're not drones, like just doing whatever. Like, this is a little sugar ant, so that's, it's fine. But even the sugar ant, right? Like, they have a purpose. They, a lot of birds and other, like, creatures on the ground eat ants and eat bugs, right? Like, isn't it the aardvark? I think they only eat ants. So imagine if the sugar ants, like the other day, I threw my apple core outside, and I've been doing like some experimenting lately with composting because I'm like doing this thing with my compost toilet. And long story short, it's really, I just find composting very interesting. And I think that a lot of things are going to be changing too. Like somebody, it just went viral of this person. I think I don't know if they're one of the first people or if like there's somebody that's kind of big out there. But anyway, I saw a snippet of this article and this video of this person who was buried in an all like natural, it's like it almost looked like an egg carton for humans, but it's like all like biodegradable and like beautiful. And like they, when you die, like they have these cartons that you can be put in, and it's mushrooms, like, and basically you'll just like disintegrate back into the earth, and it's really cool. And so this person wanted to do this and be buried in their garden because they're like, I want to give back to my garden that gave me so much. And that really just, my heart, my energy, just like it felt so beautiful. I've always wanted to be cremated because of that. Like, I know that my avatar, I won't care anymore and it's long gone or whatever, but I personally have always felt like burning would be cooler. I feel like I would rather be burned, just like have my body just like burn. And when Bubba died 5 months ago, we were going back and forth, Alder and I. I was like, should we bury her? Should we burn her? What should we do? We kept asking her, and it seemed like she kept changing. But then in the end, when I was holding her, and after she crossed over, even though she was gone, I could feel her energy still in her body, and I was like, she wants to be burned. I'm like, I feel that. I'm like, she's just too beautiful. I felt like, even though like Baba loved being outside and she loved being connected to the earth, um, I kept getting these visions of her being dug up by an animal, and the animal getting sick. It was really interesting. And so when we burned Bubba, this beautiful like blue like light came from the flames, and it was like changing colors, and it was like indigo, and it was like yellow. And I mean, it was like this, it was smoke, but it was also effervescent. I can't explain it. I did catch it a little bit on camera, and whenever they want me to post it, I'll post it. But I think that there's something interesting about that. I think they want us to connect more to our avatars, like what feels right to you. And do you want to be burned and just be like, go off into smoke, into the ether, into the ashes? Because the truth is, you'll still be ashes. When we were done burning her, we found some of her bones, and I was a little freaked out at first, but then I was like, should we take one? Like, I kind of wanted to take, I'm like, I feel like those survived and we're supposed to take one. He goes, I don't think so. I think it's creepy. And I think he's like, I think you won't want that later. And then you'll feel guilty or whatever. I don't remember what the languaging was, but I was like, you know what? Let me sit with it for a minute. And while we were figuring it out, I was like, you know what? He was right. And I knew that I hadn't cleaned the house yet. And I'm like, I'm sure I'll find stuff or whatever. And then the other day I found one of her nails, like, when she would like claw the carpet and like clean her nails, I found one of her nail pieces. It was really powerful. And I know that some people might be like, ew, but I was like, no, it's cool. So far I found one of her whiskers, one of her nails, and a little bit of her fur. And it's been interesting. And I think he's right. I think the bone would have been too much. But it was, we ended up, I was like, I don't think we should leave them in there. I'm like, what if somebody comes here and thinks somebody burned something? And I was like, although I guess it could be ribs. I'm like, I don't know. But it was very interesting. But I don't know, maybe I meant to share this with somebody because you are getting close to death, or somebody you know is getting close to death, and they're grappling with how they want to do it. I'll tell you what, it looked really cool. It was really cool because they placed the body in what they've already started growing, and it kind of looked like moss. You know, I live in the Pacific Northwest, and like when you see mushrooms growing out of the moss, it's so fucking magical. That's what this looked like. And then they kind of showed like what a decomposing, like they didn't do like a picture of a body. They just kind of did like almost like a cartoon base of like what it would look like, and it was really kind of neat. It's like the body and the weight of the bones and everything starts to fall like through the bottom of it into the earth. It was really fucking cool. So if you're thinking about that, or if you have somebody in your life that, you know, I know that there's a few of our family members here in our tribe that have their parents are close to death or nearing death. Might be something maybe you want to share with them. Maybe they're not sure. Because yeah, like the wooden coffins, it's like kind of creepy in a way, you know. I do think the biodegradable coffin makes a lot more sense. And I loved that the person that they did the article around, the whole point was that they like went into their own garden, which was really neat. And even if somebody buys the house or whatever, it's like, you know, and then they were saying, wouldn't it be cool if now instead of like having like tombstones or like a big thing, it's like there's like little plaques like on the ground, or maybe there's a bench, or but it's like a park, you know, like more like a real park instead of making it like a graveyard. So very interesting. I mean, I think that whatever feels right for you is what feels right for you. But whenever those kind of things come into my orbit and then spirit brings it up during a session like this when I'm live, I definitely feel like it's meant to be. So in the beginning, we spoke of number 24, the healing feminine energy of the goddess. And then the second card was number 17, the element of fire heralds new life and positive transformation, fire. And then number 27, the festival, which is creates an energetic blueprint for a fantastic event. So I think it's interesting that they're bringing up blueprint after we were saying that the resonance blue, the new earth, you know, it's like it's all connecting. And I feel like this Lionsgate portal, why it's going to be so profound and so magical for us is because there is a new there's a new dawn, there's a new day, there's a new earth, right? For us, and we're feeling good. And we may not be feeling good. That's the thing, but that's okay because we're exactly where we're supposed to be. Like I said, I set up this beautiful fucking altar, like this gorgeous altar to work with us today. And, you know, but they can see it and you'll see a picture of it and all is well, you know. If it was meant to be, it would be. In fact, I was like, is it on the yeah, I've tried to go live and it won't show it. So they want me to read from the book. So I'm going to start with the goddess since that was the first card we pulled. If they want me to go to another one, they'll let me know. Also, number 23, Abracadabra with Wings just came out. Do you think that's an accident that she downloaded that song, right? Like, I mean, just from the dance to, you know, I mean, abracadabra literally translates to, and so it is. Like, you know, you're speaking it into being. And now they want us to be very, not like cautious and careful because those kind of give like a dim energy. What they're saying is that they just want us to be more cognizant and aware more now more than ever, now more than ever. So the symbol in history, it says the goddess symbol with raised arms is an ancient motif that dates back 25,000 years. It is thought to represent the healing power and protection of Gaia, our Earth Mother. It is a uniquely feminine symbol found in temples and caves across Europe and the Middle East and has been associated with women's rites and ceremonies. This symbol contains the addition of two crescent moons, both waxing and waning, with the goddess in the middle as the full moon. This configuration represents the triple goddess. The original concept of the triple goddess dates back to a 14th century Roman text. And no, not a text through your phone, right? They're talking about a Roman, like a book. So it says, or script. It says this script featured Hecate, a tripartite goddess who represented birth, death, and regeneration, and also the three phases of the moon, waxing, full, and waning. Laterally, in neo-paganism, the triple goddess symbol became synonymous with the three aspects of the goddess, the maiden, the mother, and the crone. The colors of the triple goddess are red, white, and black. In divination, the appearance of this symbol indicates the importance of women's circles and gatherings of sacred sisterhood and creating deeper connections with like minded souls. Research natural treatments and remedies such as Reiki, massage, kinesiology, aromatherapy, and sound healing. That's why I think interesting that this is called resonance blue. And we spoke at the beginning of this about the definition of resonance and like what it means. And it's about vibration and frequency, and how I was drawn to that one description about the energy levels of an atom, right? Like we are made up of atoms. We are made up, all of us, like it's not, this is the we are one concept. This is the new earth concept. This is the understanding. This is breaking away from this ideology of this patriarchal system. And I am man, you are a woman. You will go in kitchen and I go get food and I do what I want and I screw who I want and I drink what I want. But you stay home, woman, and you touch no one else but me. Like all these like I mean it's just a control thing that has just gone, it's just run amok. It's like Gaia is a divine feminine energy. So the earth that we live on is a divine feminine energy. The energy that we come from is love, which is a divine feminine energy. So it makes sense that, you know, that at some point divine feminine and divine masculine were one atom that broke into two, and an atom, atom, not like Adam and Eve in the Bible, right? But that's like the bullshit. And if you look at it, that's what they're showing us is like, do you see the duality? Do you see also like the biggest cover-ups in the world have been what has been done for us, right? To understand the dark energy, the yang energy of the divine masculine, the more forceful energy of, Saturn. And it's interesting because, you know, that book that came out that was so big and it said men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right? Venus is the planet of love and Mars is the planet of war. So it makes sense that we would have these energies and this duality of, when one energy runs amok, right, and they're trying to control and dominate another energy, eventually it's like they were two atoms, they were two of the same whole. So it's not like one's more powerful or one's less powerful. It's just that when they are the strongest is when they are working together. When we work in tandem. Remember, we were talking about, defying gravity and wicked earlier, and talking about, right, like if we work in tandem instead of working against each other. And so that's why we are here, light workers. That's why we are here as a warrior, concept. We are here fighting a war. It's just a war that a lot of people may not understand because they can't see it. And the lower vibrations of the third dimensional energy were, we were pushed to believe what we could see. Yet, ironically, they want us to believe in God that we couldn't see. They wanted us to believe in all these things that we couldn't see. And then they're like, well, the proof is in the pudding. You need to see it to believe it. And it's like, well, which one is it? You know what I mean? And this false, drink some water, this false slash fake news has been going on for years and years, for centuries, literally centuries. So they want you not to believe in yourself. They want you not to believe in your own thoughts, which is why now the divine feminine energy is pushing so hard for us to see and believe in what we really think and feel. When I spoke earlier about the last podcast prophet that I did, those are real feelings. That's really how I feel. Now, is that what the outcome's going to be? I don't know. But in that moment, in that time, I was like, but this is the energy that keeps coming around. Am I in love? Do I feel love? What does love feel like? For us to keep asking ourselves, what does that mean? To pull ourselves away from other people and other things. It is so easy. Empaths, most of us on this channel, in this tribe, light workers, we are empaths. We are different levels of empaths, but those of us who are super, super divinely connected, we understand, I call it, my telepathic medium, empath, whatever, but whatever labels you want to put on it. But when we're so closely connected with others in the collective, it's easy to take on their emotions and think that they're ours. What I really feel like I was feeling in the last podcast prophet about love was what I feel like Alder and I, our human sides, are fighting. We are fighting to, like, right? Because we need to see it, we need to know it, instead of just believing that the love is there, just believing that it's going to be okay, believing that we're where we're supposed to be, and not fighting against it and not pushing and pulling away from it, but like looking at it and saying, okay, I don't like this. This makes me uncomfortable. You don't like this. This makes you uncomfortable. How can we coexist together and be together through these changes and transformation? When I feel old things coming through from my childhood and my third dimensional experience with my earth family, my blood and bone, I have to try and remember and not give up that all of that was meant to be. And they are where they are, and I am where I am. Do I pray all the time that someday I will, I had a dream recently with a bunch of my old friends, and we were grown women, and everything was so good. Everything was so great. And I was like, could we be friends again? What would that be like? Like, are they feeling this now? Like, I don't know them. Like, some of them I haven't seen them in like, 15 more plus years, So I don't know. But all I can hope is that when spirit brought them all together in my dream, I was like, oh, of course they're all witchy. You know what I mean? Of course they all have gifts. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they have opened up to their, stuff. Or I wouldn't be surprised if they saw my channel and like watched my videos and knew me and like know me now and like see me now and realize that this is what I always was, not the outward of like what I showed the world, but like this was always my heart. My heart was always to fight for love, to fight for, you know, um, non-conformity. The only conformity that I agree on is love, you know, but in the nonconformist energy, it's like I want to dress the way I want to dress. I want to be with who I want to be with. I want to my friends, my family, like we have the power to choose these things for ourselves. It's not some great mystery. When I looked down, it was 5701, which if you add it together, it was also number 13, right? It's not a great mystery. So the fire energy of the next card, number 17, is also number 8. And, 8 is about infinity. So we need this fire energy and this like amplified fire energy and this reversed, right? Like the planets aren't in reverse when they're in retrograde. It just means that they're slowing down, and the earth is has been and is speeding up because we're pulling us back into fifth dimensional energy. We were pulled back into the third dimensional energy. So time started to get slower, right? But now we're seeing just how fast it goes. And I have conversations with people all the time, perfect strangers in the grocery store. I'm sure it was all aligned in our soul contract at some point. But, these people that are put into our orbit, they're there for a reason. And this beautiful elder, she came to me and we were having this great conversation. And she even said, she's like, I'm 76 and I'm telling you, like, everything's moving faster. Like there's nothing. She's like, she grew up in, she was a child of the 50s. So she was post World War II looking at the world, through a completely different lens, a completely different scope. She's lived through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000, the 2010, 20. You know what I mean? Like she's seeing it. She understands, which is so powerful too, which means she was born in 1949, which 49 is another form of the number 13. And so is the number 76. When she told me she was 76, I was like, that's awesome. But she's totally connected. It was really cool. I was so grateful to meet her. But this fire energy is here to burn off the old excess for the new life and for the positive transformation to take place. But I believe it's going to take at least another 7 to 10 years for us to really see certain things. But I do believe over the next 24 to 26 months, we will definitely see a lot of the shadow like falling away. We're going to see a lot more things exposed. Be prepared because you may see people who you thought were your idol I used to say that was the only negative thing. I love that I got to work with so many celebrities because it made me realize that they're just people, and it made me realize that it's attainable and that it's not just through like a TV screen or a picture on your phone or whatever. It's like they're just people having a different experience than you are, and it's, more, like you're watching them in movies or you're seeing them on a music video or, you know, I was saying recently, last in the last week, I was like, we lost Malcolm Jamal Warner, who was an actor. Ozzy Osbourne was a singer, a performer, musician, and then Hulk Hogan, who was a professional wrestler, but also an athlete, right? So it's like we come from all different forms, all different, places. And, and I was saying, I'm like, whether you liked Hulk Hogan's politics or not, it doesn't matter. He was still a human being. And, we're going to see a lot of things happen and we're going to be challenged by a lot of things. But I'll tell you, I met a lot of people that I wish I had never met them because I liked the version of them in my head a lot better than who they actually were. Most of them, unfortunately, were men, but there were women too. And there were two that really threw me aback, that really broke my heart. And the one was shocking, but like knowing them, like it was a man. I'm like, I'm not going to name drop and be a, because I don't know them now. When I knew them, it was over 20 years ago, or when I met them. Um, but the one woman, I'll do a, I'm not going to name drop, but I will say this. The one woman was a character on a soap opera that was always known for being like the sweetest, most loving, would do anything for anybody character. And when I met them in real life, I was like, oh my gosh, I was so excited to meet them. And they were such a diva. I was like, wow, they were literally like the polar opposite of their character and just wouldn't call me by my name. And just, it was just like, I mean, she did everything but call me girl. And I was like, okay, whatever, everybody's got to do what they, but, so we're going to see a lot of things pull back, heroes, you know, so just be prepared for that. And that's okay because, everybody is going to have their time with karma. We are seeing it happen. Instant karma is going to get you. We're in that energy now. So remember, whatever you're putting out, you're going to get tenfold, a hundredfold, a thousandfold, whatever you put out and the frequency that you put it out in a high frequency, low vibration, whatever, you will get it back. That's why they're having us be more conscious of our thoughts and our words and what we're saying and what we're doing and what we're putting out into the world. Sometimes when I'm sitting here, I'll be in such a good mood and then something will come in or I'll hear a song or I'll see something and it'll remind me of something. And before I know it, I'm like in this negative spiral and I'm like, how did I even get here? And then I'm like, you know what? I'm not fucking perfect. I'm human here. So if I want to be bitchy or be pissed off right now, then I'm just going to be that. But I realized I'm like, no, that's the whole point, is that that's not me. I wasn't born bitchy. I wasn't born judging. I wasn't born, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to be digging a lot deeper, going underneath the surface. We're going to be, the next several years is going to be very interesting for all of us. But as long as we stay in the vibration of the greatest and highest good of ourselves and each other, it's like, it's okay. We're going to have those days and we work through that energy and then we move on. We just don't want to sit in it. So the divine goddess also says, allow yourself to be open to the divine feminine while tender and nurturing. She's also powerful and transformative. Goddess energy is comforting, protective, and loving. So view this symbol as a reminder to nurture yourself and others with gentle words and expectations, right? Like when I was speaking in the podcast Prophet about me and Alder, I was like, why am I still, I'm like, is that love? Like, is it really love if I'm like, I mean, how long do I have to wait for them? And then while I'm waiting for them, do I just have to endure their lack of compassion towards me or their lack of, whatever, insert your story. And the answer is yes. And it's difficult. And that's why this relationship is so challenging, because it'd be much easier. I can talk myself in or out of anything. We all can do that. So it's easier if I'm like, you know what? That's cool. I don't need to be with them. I don't need to deal with this is their shit. Let them deal with it. I don't have to. I'm gonna go live my life. Blah 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 blah. I'm gonna go find someone else, someone better, someone on my vibration. And if what is that? Ego, 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 ego. And Leo is all about the ego. So since we're in the retrograde season of communication with Mercury and Neptune and Saturn and Pluto, then those energies, we have to look at the shadow side of those energies and see where they are falling in our chart. So look and see, do some astrology research and look at your chart and see where these planets are sitting and see, you may even want to join some channel or maybe an app or something that has like the daily what's going on with the planets. It might be an easier way to navigate through what you're going through instead of trying to fight it, right? Because that's what I realized. I woke up this morning and I was kind of feeling the same way. I've been having really bizarre, interesting dreams. I call it subconscious city because it's my subconscious, but it's like it's like I'm always in this city, wherever this city is, right? Like in some place in my brain or someplace in some other universe, maybe, I don't know, dimension, time, but people will show up and I will have like interactions with them. I never really see myself. I never look in the mirror or see myself, but I'm assuming it's me, or maybe it's another version of me. Sometimes I know I'm astral traveling, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm in subconscious city. But when I wake up from subconscious city, I always have this very deep, like where I'm still thinking about it, the resonance of it, right? It's still vibrating, the frequency's still going through my thoughts and my mind, and then it's playing out in this world. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have moments where we realize, when like right now I'm looking outside, you may even can hear, I have most of my windows closed, but you may even be able to hear like the rustling of the trees. Let me see if you can hear it. You can kind of hear the faint of the wind chime. But there may come a time where I don't just see that tree. I may see a person in a house where that tree is. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, because in another dimension, this part of Earth is a different place. Maybe it's the southern hemisphere instead of the northern hemisphere. Maybe I'm purple and I, have scales like a dragon, but I look like a human. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But that's the not knowing part. And we've been, fed this bullshit, like, the more you know, the more you grow. Yes, that's true. But also it's like sometimes it's like if you're not ready for some information, or if you're not ready for some lesson yet and it appears in front of you and you are not ready for it, it can feel very unsettling and ungrounding. And that's kind of what I was feeling with Alder, because sometimes when we're together, it feels so good and it feels so right. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how could I ever doubt us? How can I, and then we have other times where I'm like, I'm so infuriated with this person. I don't want to be around this person. Why is it so difficult for them to do X, Y, and Z? Because and when I hear that, what am I doing? I'm trying to control it. I'm trying, because but that's when I started to ask, am I really in love with this person? Because if I were, would I be asking this many questions? But Spirit is saying yes, because everything about us is changing down to a molecular level. Gaia herself is changing on a molecular level. Scientists have been saying this for years. The global warming thing isn't really like the global warming so much as people are saying. It's like she's just like only going to put up with so much shit for so long. I don't know why the ice age happened. Like I don't feel like we started with the ice age, but if, and only because they've, found things, cars, animals, humans, like they've found beings in the ice, frozen in the ice, that they're like, wow. And they've done, scientific testing where they're like, like, I think we were like at one point, the northern hemisphere was the southern, and vice versa. But even that, isn't that just like more history of Earth itself and of Gaia herself? So it does show us that humans can only, withstand and sustain so much. We're actually very fragile. We're very strong in some ways and we can handle a lot, and in other ways we're not. I feel like part of, we're having like these rounds of cleansing, so to speak. When I said this in one of my other videos, I did get someone, this was, back in the COVID era, I did get somebody who had found my video, and they basically scolded me and called me a monster because I said, I feel like COVID is kind of like the first wave of like the people that are going to go. And, because we have gotten completely overpopulated. That's why birth control was always around. Birth control is not a new thing. It has been around for thousands of years. If a woman got pregnant and, because it wasn't like men were like, oh, please let me pull out so that we don't have a baby. No, they were like, or maybe somewhere, I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, it's like they fucked until they fucking came. They weren't like, oh, I'm going to pull out and, not make a baby. Like I said, maybe some of them did, but there was definitely a very strong patriarchal, like, we keep creating humans. But the witches were known, like when women didn't want to be pregnant, or, they had like little tonics and tinctures of things that would prevent them from getting pregnant. And it was kind of like the day after pill. It was like something that, so that the baby wouldn't even grow, right? Like the seed was planted, but there wasn't time for it to grow. And then over time, they wanted more people because they're like, oh, look, the more people we can create, the more we can make slaves, the more we can, that's like a whole other episode, but you see where I'm going with this. So these portals that we have, especially the big ones like the Lionsgate portal, it's really just to give us more of a connection and a knowing to the outer realms of Earth, to remind us of who we are, why we came here, why this is happening, that Earth is a training ground, is a training school for the soul, and it's not so, tangible. And it's interesting, that makes sense why they wanted this to go in more of a podcast format today. When I look down, it was 11111. I'm going to ring a bell. Watch your ears. I'm getting a vibe from the angels. They want to clear the air. So if you have this up on high, you may want to turn it down, or if you're wearing iPods. Okay. iPods. Earpods. I love it. Okay, here we go. And that's why we cleanse the energy, right? If we get too connected to the earth energy, we forget our place. Like, you forget your place, sir, right? But it is. It's like we forget that, like, we don't come from here, and the energy is different, the resonance is different, the reverberation is different. That's why I smoke a lot of weed. I say this all the time. I smoke a lot of weed because the energy, like I ask spirit all the time, will I always smoke weed? They're like, no. And I feel that too. Like, I feel like at some point, like maybe I'll use it like to have fun or medicinally, or maybe on a fun meditation or something. But I know that it's because the energy of wherever I come from in the angel realm is so high, and the vibration is so intense that sometimes it physically hurts for me to be here. And when I'm high, not only do I feel more connected to the outer realms, but I also feel more connected to Earth. But the density on Earth right now is so heavy that, it's like, there are some days I get, really high, but I don't get really high very often. Like, I'm high right now, right? Like, I smoked the serious buds before I started this. But it helps to slow down because the planet is speeding up, and wherever I come from, my brain moves so quickly, my thoughts and everything. Like, I'm so divinely connected. I'm like a vocal piece for spirit, one of them anyway. And so it's like I could be constantly channeling all the time. I have to work really hard at staying grounded and connected to the earth, because of course I want to just fly away and talk in my fun little voices and, be, whatever. But I also, chose this path to be here and to ground the energy and anchor the light. So that's just me. That's just where I come from. Not all, in fact, most light workers I know they either don't drink, don't do any altered substances whatsoever, or they used to and don't anymore. There are a few that are like myself. In fact, I remember when, drink some water. I remember when I kept trying to quit. And one of my teachers, shamans, whatever label you want to put on them, she said, she's like, do you remember when I told you about one of my teachers, one of my shamans, White Bear? And I said, yes. And she's like, do you remember when I um, told you that White Bear smoked cannabis, that he grows it? And I was like, yeah. And she goes, and this is like, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not White Bear. It's her other teacher, and I keep getting them confused because I think White Bear was more connected to the humans, and then her other teacher, he lived up on a mountain, on Crystal Mountain. Literally, that's the name of it, by the way. And he's like, he walks the old red road, like he's Native American, and he like grows his own food, catches his own animals, uses the animals, tip to tail, grows his own cannabis. She's like, he smokes all the time. It was one of them, but either way, you get what I'm saying. It's like, and this is somebody who is very revered and, is an old medicine man, basically, is what she was saying. And she's like, he's like you, like he smokes all day long. She's like, there's nothing wrong with that. So, if you're somebody who's really struggling with the density of earth, you may benefit by using cannabis or by using microdosing shrooms. The interesting thing is cannabis is a divine feminine plant. And this was brought up to me recently. And it made so much sense that they're like a lot of divine masculines, like men, right, have a hard time staying awake when they're on cannabis. With for me, it's the opposite. It's like I'm so connected to that plant, and I feel like it's like a divine connection between me and Gaia in that plant. So, and I've tried not smoking and just doing tinctures or edibles or whatever. But it's the whole thing. Like when I smoke, I kind of do the puff puff pass kind of thing, and I like kind of give some to spirit as well. And there is definitely some connection with it. So if you are struggling and are looking for a new life or something to help you through this positive transformation of the fire energy, it might be something for you to look at. And if where you live it's not legal, you may want to move to somewhere that it is. Because the cool thing about where it's legal, you don't, have to live there to consume it, to buy it and consume it. It's really cool. The only thing I don't like about where I live is that it comes packaged, where when I was living in Oregon, it's so cool because you can actually like pick your own buds out of like a big glass jar. It's so awesome. And then they just like weigh it, and it's super cool. But in Washington, I wish they would change that because everything has to be packaged. But I think it's because they're a border state. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But anyway, I digress. But either way, there's different ways to heal our energy field. And for some of you, it's like, and maybe alcohol is, I don't know, but alcohol in my experience tends to be more of a depressant for some people. And so especially if you're, a light worker and you're already battling so many like heavy energies right now, alcohol may not be your friend. And, if you're like, I remember I said to Spirit, I was like, I can quit drinking, but you can't take my weed. Like, there's no way I could get through this sober, right? But I didn't even need to ask. I mean, it literally like became legal when I was like coming into my gifts and waking up to my gifts. So it was really helpful. So anyway, so getting back to the card, it says, Goddess energy is comforting, protective, and loving. So view this symbol as a reminder to nurture yourself and others with gentle words and expectations. To manifest your dreams, it says, work with this symbol to bring a gentle, healing, feminine energy to your endeavors. Meditating on this symbol can help to maintain a good balance in life, as well as bring a beautiful, soft energy into the home. So I will put pictures of these cards in the posts, and it'll also come up in the My Community section. And if they draw me to, I'll make a shorts out of it, just so you can see the symbol and work with it. And let's see, number 17, fire. The element of fire guards the realms of spirit, vitality. Oh, hi, Jessica. What's 123? Oh, you are you saying you came on at 123? I can't see the time. Let me see. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Oh, yeah, you did. 123. Oh, yeah. Cool. That's awesome. That's so interesting. Okay, well, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Yay. Um, say hello to Jessica, everybody. There was somebody else here. I don't know who, but they went off, but they didn't say who they were, and that's okay. It might have been Anna. But it's late in the UK. So I think they're 8 hours ahead of me. So if it's 1 o'clock, 1:23 here, so it's 9:23 there. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so yay. So let's get into the fire card. So it says the element of fire guards the realms of spirit, vitality, and passion. It is associated with the color red, the season of summer, and the direction of south. Woo! Which you guys know, Archangel Michael is also the direction of south and fire and protection. So work with Archangel Michael very closely during this Lionsgate portal. Call on Michael and the Syrians and any other energies and entities you want to work with that are in the outer realms. This is the time to do it. If you want to start your business and call on the fire energy to bring in that new life, to bring in the positive transformation, whatever your heart desires, whatever your dreams are, bring them in and work with Archangel Michael during this energy. Plus, in the Northern Hemisphere, we are in summer, and red is like the color of hot. So that's interesting. In the 16th century, lizard like spirits called salamanders became connected with this element. You guys, oh my gosh, I saw a salamander on Monday. That's so cool. I've been seeing a lot of salamanders and gardener snakes all around the property. So work with the salamander energy. And also, we're in the year of the snake. So maybe that is calling to you as well. But I love salamanders. They're so cute. I had a salamander once named Hermie. He was so cute. I accidentally murdered him slowly. It was horrible. Thank you, Hermie, for helping a 12-year-old girl through a really horrible time. Anyway, so I dedicate this to you, Hermie. So it says, salamanders became connected with this element. They are known today as elements of fire. Salamanders guard all forms of fire and flame and gift us with inspiration and energy. Fire is courageous and purifying. It promises success and transformation. The tarot suit of wands, which is related to the fire element, encourages determination and ambition. Work with the element of fire for victory, achievements, and inspiring new ideas. The divination on this card is sometimes the most healing thing you can do is to stand up for yourself. Many spiritual people believe that expressing anger and speaking directly is wrong or somehow unevolved. However, building resentment and constantly swallowing your words blocks the throat chakra and saps your energy. Oh my gosh, you guys. Were we not just talking about this, about the throat chakra, like 3 or 4 times during this reading? I had to like really swallow and like get past it. And then we took some water. But also remember when I was talking about how when I was thinking about Alder and love or whatever, I was feeling resentment. Isn't that interesting? So this is a really challenging time. Also, a lot of astrologers have been saying that this Leo season, with a lot of things that are happening, is supposed to be really promoting like love, like a romantic love, kind of like, but in a way that it's either going to be like couples breaking apart or like seeing how strong they really are together. So it makes sense that in the Poetic Prophet, that's so funny. That's on my other channel, Lula's Labyrinth. Maybe it's time for me to put one of my poems out today. But they in the last episode of the podcast Prophet, when I was speaking of that, that's what the love energy was talking about, that fiery, like, and sometimes love doesn't come at us with fire and butterflies and all that. Like sometimes love is hard, and it's the part of love that we really have to look at and face, right? Speaking of, Jessica's here, and Jessica's writing a book right now that's really profound on her experience of someone who she loved so dearly and so deeply and then feared, right, Jessica, right? Like, and I don't want to speak for you and like what you've been through and what you've been through since we I don't know what episode it was now where we had that huge breakthrough with you and your family and all that, but right, like loving somebody is actually the greatest, I mean, I guess the greatest and the most profound act we can ever do is to really love somebody when we don't like them. And that's what I was feeling with Alder is like, I love him, but I don't like him all the time. And I find that I dislike him more than I like him a lot of the time, meaning like his habits, the things he says or doesn't say, his actions or their lack of. You know, to me, it's like, I, to me, it's like if you talk to somebody, like if you're texting somebody, you know, it's one thing, like I say to you guys, like if you message me or I message you and we don't respond right away, like that's fine. But what frustrates me is that like I will text Alder and it's like I don't get a response, even if I ask a question. And then like I'll see him and I'll be like, hey, did you get my message? They'll be like, yeah. I'm like, so you just didn't respond? They're like, no. I'm like, and to me, I'm like, I just think that's rude. I think it's ignorant. I'm like, I think it's rude. I think it's condescending and I think it's controlling. And I don't think he sees it that way. He looks at it like, why do I have to answer your question right now? I'm like, well, maybe you don't have to answer my question right now, but like if I send you a text and I don't see you for 3, 5, 7 days, and then I have to ask you about it again, it's just like, because I don't know, there's just some weird power and control issue I feel like is happening with a lot of the divine masculines right now. And because we all have divine masculine and divine feminine, I think that there's even the women are going through that too. Or like, I don't have to fucking give you an explanation. No, you don't know it. You don't have to, we don't owe each other anything, right? We don't. But there's also like, if you're, well, spirits like speak your truth. All right. But if we don't, what did you say, Jessica? What do you do? She says, I do that with my mother. What do you do with your mom? Feel free to like explain further. Oh my gosh, drink some water. Wow, that like really came through. I feel like that's what they're trying to show me. Like, because the thing that's hard with Alder is that, and I'm not like trying to like talk out of school. It's just, this is what's going on in my life right now, right? And I don't want to like candy coat things. And he's a light worker too and a medicine man. So it's like we're both working through a lot of our stuff and he's still working through a lot of the dark night of the soul. So it's like, I know I can't ask him to be where he's not ready to be yet. But what's hard for me right now is that he was a certain way and now he's reverted to like this old version of himself. And so he said basically like that he was doing things because he didn't want to get in trouble with me or he didn't want me to be mad at him. So now he's free and he doesn't have to. Like he doesn't have to answer to me. He doesn't have to answer anybody. He doesn't. And what I'm trying to explain to him is that's not freedom. That's like not setting boundaries and not responding to somebody because you don't want to is kind of disrespectful. I think it's disrespectful. Oh, you do. You do that with your mom, the love-hate thing? That's interesting. In what capacity do you want to say more on that? Like, you don't have to if you don't want to. If you don't respond, I'll take that as a response, right? Like, so, but I'm saying like, I'll ask him like little things like, oh, like he went to see this band the other night. So we were texting about something about the house. And I was like, oh, hey, like, I'm like, how did that go? Did you have a good time? All he has to say is yes, or it was good or whatever. But he just won't respond. And it feels like a controlling thing. Like it's because then when I'll see him, I'll be like, oh, you didn't say anything, and I'm like, is it because you don't want to talk about it or because you just wanted to tell me in person? He's like, oh, I just thought I wanted to tell you in person. I'm like, so why is it so hard to just say, oh, I'll tell you when I see you, but it was fun. I'll tell you more when I see you and it was fun. Now, is that me controlling him or is that him controlling me? And that's where I think I'm struggling right now because I'm like, I just think it's like proper etiquette, I guess. Like, and maybe I hear myself saying it right now, right? Like I'm working out while I talk to you guys. You're saying now taking care of her while she is obviously having dementia, but I've never liked her as a person. Oh, right. So Jessica's saying like she's having a love-hate thing with her mom because she has to take care of her because she has dementia. But here's the thing, Jessica, you don't. You didn't like her as a person, but you're taking care of her. It's kind of the same thing with me and Alder. I'm like, I think that there's a give and a take. Like right now, yours is a little different, right? Because your mom is going through dementia. So you can't like have a conversation with her Yeah, she says, I think it's rude as well not to respond to texts. It bothers me when people do that. So, like I'll say to you guys, like when I respond to your text, I'll be like, I'm so sorry, I was away or whatever, or I don't even say I'm so sorry. I think I say things like, I apologize, I've been really busy or whatever, but, you know, and sometimes I'll admit like some will fall between the cracks, or like you guys will, I see like old videos will come into my orbit, and I'll see that you guys commented and I want to respond, but I'm like, or I'll go to respond and I'm like, that was 3 years ago. Is that silly to respond now? But I don't know why I missed them. You know what I mean? It's like a really interesting thing. You're like, that's different. I get that when someone does it intentionally. Right. Exactly. So Jessica's saying she understands what I'm saying. Like sometimes we forget, because I feel like, so this is where maybe this is what we're going to come to, you guys, by the end of this Lionsgate portal. Maybe this is what they're trying to show us through this, because Leos are all about love, man. They're just like, let's just have a good time. Like on the bright side, the light side of Leo is just like, let's have fun. Let's, blah, blah, blah. Like, but the insecure side of Leo is like the ego. So, I feel like that's what's going on with me and Alder is like, I'm like, how much longer do I have to put up with somebody who is just being, I feel like it's childish. It just feels childish to me. Just respond in a mature, like I said, like how hard is it to do that? And so I've been trying to kind of get out of my relationship with Alder because I want to be with someone who's reciprocal. And I don't think that's too much to ask. And I guess we'll explore this more over the next several, weeks or months or whatever, but it just feels like he does it to me all the time. And when he would do it to me when we were together, we weren't apart for this long before. So like if he was at work and he didn't respond, I never really took it wrong because I would see him that night and he would tell me. But now it's kind of like he'll say, yeah, I saw it. And I'm like, oh, so like, am I not important enough for you? You know what I mean? Like to me, I feel like I just want to, like right now, my third deacon Leo, my triple Sag, like just thinking about those conversations with him makes me want to flip him off and tell him to go fuck himself. And go be with a girl, go be with a woman, go be with whomever. Cause see, isn't it interesting how girl came out first? Like go be with someone who doesn't give a shit then, because I do. And I know that that I do. So it's like, so do I have to keep continually changing for him when he won't change for me? So, it's like it's a slippery fucking slope. So let's read on and see what this says, because clearly we need this lesson today. So salamanders guard all forms of fire and flame and gift us with inspiration and energy. Fire is courageous and purifying. It promises success and transformation. The tarot suit of wands, which is related to the fire element, encourages determination and ambition. Work with the element of fire for victory, achievements, and inspiring new ideas. The divination of this card is sometimes the most healing thing you can do is to stand up for yourself. Many spiritual people believe that expressing anger and speaking directly is wrong or somehow unevolved. However, building resentment and constantly swallowing your words blocks the throat chakra and saps your energy. Anger that has been properly expressed is not damaging, but healing. If this card finds its way into your consciousness, be assured this is the right time to speak up and express yourself. If you find yourself being spoken to in a patronizing way, or people are taking advantage of your good nature, use the energy of fire to say, enough! It's kind of like written that way, so I had to act it out. Find the courage to defend yourself, and if necessary, fight fire with fire. Which is interesting. I don't know about you, Jessica, but on my side of this story, when I looked down, it was 133.33. We've been seeing very different versions of this. It's like the divine feminine went 1 3 3 3 3 3 3, right? Because the divine and feminine is 13, but it's like 1 3 3 3 3. So let's work with the three. Let's work with angel number 3, but also with It could be maybe some of you are life path 3, maybe you're working with a life path 3. Look up 3 in numerology and life path, because this could be somebody that we're dealing with that we don't even realize it. Hold on, I'm going to open a window. So that's really powerful, because that's what it feels like. It feels like his shadow. Because let's put it this way, the alder that I'm in love with doesn't treat me like that. Ed used to treat me like that. That was his birth name, and he changed to Alder. And I said that to him. I go, you don't just change a name and become it. I'm like, you have to or you don't just change your name and instantly become it, right? Like, he chose alder because of the tree and like the significance, the spiritual significance of the alder tree. So I'm like, you can't this is getting back to what we talk about all the time. Anna, we always talk about this too, right? Walk in the walk, talk in the talk, and walk in the walk. And this might be a huge thing for you, Jessica, where it's like, why are you taking care of your mom? Why do you have to do it? Right? Like when my mom was dying, when I found out, I was like, I'm going there. I started like packing a bag, whatever. And Spirit was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Who's going there? Is Kelly going there? Or is Tallulah going there? That was Kelly. Kelly was like, mommy, my mommy's dying. My mommy's dying. I got to go be with her. I got to hold her hand. I got to be with her. Well, my mommy had her Southern Baptist church. And if my mom died alone, that's the way she wanted it. And if my mom died with people around her, that's the way she wanted it. And if I had gone there, I can go through I've been going through this over and over again. And it's the guilt. It's the human shit that tells us that we should do this, that we should do that. We should all over ourselves. And, instead of saying, but what's right for me? What's good for me? Where do I need to detach? Where do I need to attach? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, where do we need to? It's like, so I think it's really powerful. I mean, I love my mom, but my mom was not there for me. But at the end, I was supposed to be there for her. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a very slippery, it's an interesting situation. It's a slippery slope. And I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, but I go through it too. It's coming up on the year anniversary of my mom's death next month. And I've gone through it all. Trust me. Same with Bubba. I'm like, should I have done this? Should I have done that? I find videos. I'm like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? Because I wasn't in the same mind space I wasn't in the same heart space. Right now, it's a lot easier for me to look back on Bubba's death now that she's been gone for 5 months. It's a lot easier to look at, my mom and what happened, because it's been almost a year. But time away and reflection really helps. It makes a huge difference. So to manifest our dreams, it says, find your inner warrior and stand up for your right to be heard. Let your words transform and heal. Visualize a powerful circle of fire around your personal space every time you feel others trying to dominate and belittle you. In time, you will find you no longer attract these circumstances or people. With this new clarity, inspiring new ideas will flow along with a renewed passion for life. Yep. That's really, really, really powerful. So now our last card is number 27, the festival. I feel like a lot of us are going through this, whether it's like Jessica and I are with our mothers, whether you're going through it with your father. On one of the last picker readings, I think one of the readings was really geared towards father issues and daddy issues. And one of the readings was geared towards mommy issues. It was really heavy. And so, because we are the leaders, we're going to go through things before everybody else. But that's the whole point. We have to get through it to get to it. So, I felt like in a way I had been waiting, I'd been waiting my whole life for my mom to die, because once she died, I felt the other shoe finally drop. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to worry or concern myself anymore about it. The other day, I started writing a few songs, and I just started to feel that energy again, where I had to be really cautious, because when I was a singer-songwriter in my 20s, it really affected my family, and they were very angry with me because I was bringing in what they considered our dirty laundry, quote unquote. They're like, so when people ask you about that song, what are you going to tell them? I'm like, the truth. And they're like, so you're going to tell everybody that we come from, that dad beat mom and blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, because that's what fucking happened. That's what happened to me. That's why this song is so touching. I'm like, we're not the only ones. And what really inspired me was No More Drama from Mary J. Blige, and the whole song is about that. And I remember that was one of the first really big anthems, even though other songs were written about domestic abuse. It was one of the first songs, especially, by an R&B artist who was like, it's like, it was so profound. And if you've never heard it, go find it. I think it's called No More Drama, and it's by Mary J. Blige. And that's what made me fall in love with her. I mean, I'd heard of her, but like after that, I was like, wow, she's so powerful. So don't hold yourself back from who you're becoming because you're attached to an old version of who you were, or that, because right now, you guys, this is going to be really fucking hard to hear, but people who are still living in the third dimension, they're fucking anchors. And they're anchors for a different purpose, like meaning like they're the anchor that's stopping you from going where you need to go. Like we spoke earlier in this episode about us being anchors and pushpins of light on the planet. Yes. But if we have people who are like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love Alder, but I'm like, I'll be damned, right? Like, I will fucking be damned if I'm going to let this person, like, it makes me feel bad about myself. It makes me feel why am I still talking to him? You know what I mean? Like, why am I still dealing with this fucker? Like, I mean, that's my Southside Chicago Kelly, right? That's my fire. But what really gets me is because his moon is in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius are fun loving and about freedom. And everything his heart tells me in when we were still loving each other and the whispers in the dark and kissing, and you know what I mean? Like that person is my Bashert. That's my person. But like this other person, I'm like, I'm fucking tired of them. Like I'm tired of them. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to deal with it anymore. So I've been like pushing to spend more time with him, but I feel like the more I'm spending time with him, it's like he doesn't, because here's the story. When we were living together, the reason why it was easier for him to be Alder and stay in light is because I'm always in it for the most part. If 25% of my week is shadow, that's natural, right? Like I'm going to have a negative thought, or I'm going to have, whatever. It's my job to correct it and bring myself back to the light. But what I'm saying is that like for him, no one is like telling him, no one is forcing him. And I told him, I said, I kind of feel like if we're really going to work on this, we got to get serious about you moving back in at least part-time. Even if it's like you stay here a few nights a week, whatever. I'm like, this is something that if we're going to really work on this, we have to work on this. I go, because what happens is he's doing his thing and I'm doing my thing. But then when we spend time together, it's like being on a fucking roller coaster or a merry-go-round. And it's frustrating because I'm like, you have the power to change those emotions, right? But being in that like very dark energy of like, I don't have to feel if I don't want to. I don't have to respond to your text if I don't want to. I don't have to. It just feels childish. And I feel like he is like a representation because he's not, right? We know he's a medicine man just like we are, right? Like if you're here, you're a light worker. We're medicine people. It means that we bring the light to others and we search out the light to, bring back to ourselves when we're feeling the shadow, when we're going through the shadow, when we're having those difficult times. Like today, I built this beautiful altar spirit. I tried 3 different times and, I thought it was Mercury retrograde. That's why. But both of those times it kept saying that I wasn't connected. Even though I'd been sitting here in meditation and I was like, everything, this was the first time in a few weeks where I actually like really like was like connected before we started this. But it wasn't connecting because they're like, it's not about that. They'll see a picture of it. They don't need to see it right now. Because this is about hearing. This is about hearing right now. This is about feeling these words that are coming out. Do you hear the words that are coming out my mouth? Right? Like this is about like really understanding where we are and understanding that yes, love is unconditional, but that doesn't mean that we need to take the abuse from people. Like if your mom's abusing you, why should you fucking stay and take care of her? No offense. And if this is going to upset some people, I'm just going to put it out there. If your parents, like, do I think anyone should be in a nursing home, quote unquote, or like, dump your parents off? No. But if your parent was like belligerent to you and you did not have a good relationship and now they have dementia and they're, still talking to you that way, or maybe even in a worse way, why the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, that's not your karma. That's not like, that's your human that says, who's going to take care of my mom? What's going to happen to her? Well, you know what? That was your mom's fucking karma and dharma. And like, these are like, at any given moment, we are given choices to be the kind of people that we're meant to be, or be the people that we were brought here to be. Let's be more specific. And some people were meant to be here. Like, my mom was very witchy and very magical, but she was also played like the villain in my story, so to speak. So did my family. Like, if you looked at my story, my family are the villain. If you go to my family's story, I'm the villain in their story. Absolutely. Because they live in one world, I live in another. I tried to like love them unconditionally. It wasn't reciprocated. I could be in their world as long as I acted like them. I could be in their world as long as I spoke like them. I could be in their world as long as I didn't bring my freaky deaky in the fucking picture. I could be there. But if you know what I mean? So it's like, that's why a lot of that came up. My anger and frustration came up for Alder is one, because I want him to be where I want him to be, and he's not. So that's on me, and I'm working through that, obviously, as I'm talking about it. And if you go and listen to that episode, that's what I'm talking. But I'm also stating and explaining that this is real life, and this is real shit, and this is what's happening. And we can choose to be in the fifth dimensional energy and be in love and be in light. Like, those people, even our blood and bone, they will find their way there. But if we keep giving them and allowing them to treat us that way, because now I'm getting and understanding what they're saying. Jessica, she has the monetary ways to get care. I am working on that for the boys and I. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Well, she has the monetary ways to get care. And maybe this is where you need to, finally be like, this isn't working for me. I want to live here. I want to be here. This is where, I mean, I can just tell, Jessica, when we talk, like, you are so meant to live up here. I feel it too. And I think your children would thrive up here. The Pacific Northwest is a really magical place, not to mention that the Olympic Mountains are one of the last rainforests in the world, but they're also, as powerful as like Mount Shasta. People don't talk about them enough, but they are. So are the Cascades, Mount Rainier. And so, this is the time that they're saying for us to like really, really be there. You're looking at Oregon. Well, Oregon's really powerful too. Whatever feels good to you, but also be open to that, like I said that about Washington, just because I'm happy here, I tend to do that sometimes where I'm like, I'm happy here. I want everyone to be happy here, but if Oregon really feels good to you, then it must be calling you for a reason. I went to Oregon first from Chicago, and then when I was in Chicago, or excuse me, when I was in Oregon, Alder and I met, and he had family that was from up here, and we had to drive. We didn't have to, but we took his mom up here, and I fell in love with the Olympic Peninsula. I would have probably not come up here if it weren't for him, So anyway, like whatever you feel is right for you. Oregon's nice if you like more sunshine. It just depends on where you live in Oregon too, because Oregon and Washington, what's really interesting about the West Coast in general is the Cascades, right? Like, even you're in Nevada, but it's like, the Cascades are like between the ocean and the Cascades you're going to have more wet regions. And then between the Cascades, on the other side of the Cascades and going east, you're going to have more of the desert, and it's not going to rain as much. It's not going to rain as often. So, keep that in mind. And Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, those are really cool, beautiful places, but they're very arid. They're very dry. So keep that in mind as well. Like, I love those places. I really do. Like, I love the energy of the desert. I love the energy of New Mexico, predominantly for me in my experiences. But I know I could never live there. It's just, after like a week, like yeah. Even LA, like I went down to LA to visit some friends after I'd been living in the Pacific Northwest for, I think, like 6 months or a year. And I couldn't get over how awful it was. It was so dry. I was like, oh, I'm like, how did I live here for almost a decade? So, but I lived there when I was meant to live there, so everything happens for a reason. Also, the filth that I felt on my skin. I was like, oh my gosh, I came back to Washington and I felt like I had to take like 5 showers from like the smog from LA. It was really weird. But yet I lived there for almost 9 years altogether. So it's very interesting. But yeah, follow your heart, follow your heart. But I'll tell you what, if you know, it doesn't make you a monster because you don't want to take care of somebody or have somebody in your life that makes you feel like that. And so I'm going to talk to Alder about it. Like I said, I wasn't going to put it out, but they really pushed me to put it out. But I feel like it's something I need to talk to him about because I feel like, these are the conversations that they're saying, like right now, like that's why I'm doing this. I'm going to see him tomorrow. We're doing another phase um, of the remodel tomorrow. It's the last phase that we're going to do till after Mercury goes retrograde because we need to do more like tearing down stuff. This is more like moving furniture in and out and rearranging things. And, I don't push, I always tell people during, especially Mercury retrograde, don't move. Don't, you know what I mean? Like, don't do things that are like too intense or whatever. Don't sign contracts. Don't, whatever, like, don't sign a lease if you can, like, try and put it off. If it happens, it happens, but just like make sure you read the fine print, make sure that you know exactly what you're signing and what you're agreeing to. That's a really, really big thing with any retrogrades, but definitely Mercury because it's the closest planet to us, but it's also the ruler of communication and paperwork and things like that. So if it's in retrograde, it's saying like they're telling you to look at something again or to make sure that you really go over it with a fine-tooth comb. So we're going to push on to the festival card, and if any of the other information comes out, I'll bring it back in. So the festival celebrates an energetic blueprint for a fantastic event, number 27. Ooh, it's also on page 71, which is the year I was born. That's interesting, which is the number 8. And 27 is the number 9. We're in a 9 year, and last year was the number 8, but 8 is the number of infinity, and also the Lionsgate portal takes place in August, which is the number 8. And it reaches its height on 8/8. So this says this symbol of the festival takes its inspiration from big music festivals such as Woodstock, Glastonbury, and Pink Pop. At such festivals, there is a certain magic in the air and a fantastic vibe is created by the right mix of music, fun, love, and laughter. This symbol represents a large field where a special crop circle has been created. Within the crop circle is the energetic blueprint for a magnificent festival. In the very middle of the circle is the Star of David, also known as the Seal of Solomon, a symbol that brings wisdom, understanding, and intuition. The overarching qualities present at any successful event where great numbers of people are gathered. The divination is this symbol is the Think Big card, representing large gatherings of like-minded people, creating a beautiful yet ephemeral, you know that word. I can see it and I know how to say it, but it won't come out of my mouth. That's interesting. Atmosphere. It is very much an of the moment card where being in the right place at the right time and enjoying a special transient moment is indicated. The festival symbol is about humans deepening their connection with each other and the divine, of expressing themselves and getting back to their tribal roots. When dancing together, the crowd becomes a powerful force, creating magic, healing, transcendence, and oneness. This symbol heralds a time of celebration on a big scale, a feeling alive and rejoicing in being human, not just surviving, but thriving on our gorgeous planet Earth. Manifest your dreams. Work with this symbol when assembling with others to create something incredible. Use it to help produce transformation by employing the power of people. Real and lasting change can come from big festivals and events, which has been proven throughout the course of history. If you have a dream to create something fantastic with thousands of harmonious souls, this is the symbol for you. Also interesting, the next card is number 28, Little Luxuries, but it's also the day that Alder was born, but my dad's birth and death day. So that's interesting. I feel like that might mean something to somebody. So also, when we were reading in the divination, when it said, this symbol heralds a time of celebration on a big scale of feeling alive and rejoicing, being human, not just surviving, but thriving on our gorgeous planet Earth. That is something that I said to Alder recently that really I've been trying to break through this barrier for a really long time, and maybe you're going through this too, so maybe it's something we can work on together. But um, he he grew up in a survival state, and he lived most of his life in a survival state. And the whole time that we were together, we I kept trying to bring us back to a thrive, because I was in a survival state as well, but I also knew how to party and let go. I also knew, like, I had a good balance of like the, and of the fight or flight kind of thing. And like I kind of knew, like I knew, like, that song, you gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Like I kind of always had that energy. Like I knew when to, like, put it out and when to bring it in. And there's a good balance of that, right? Like obviously we go into survival mode if like something happens and we've got to do that. But for the most part, we're supposed to be thriving here, not living in survival mode. And part of the 3D consciousness is a survival mode. How are you going to eat? Where are you going to live? What's going to happen? Well, if you have this job and you have a steady paycheck, it's like, we've become these, like, these drones, these ants, these worker bees all over the planet. It's not just like one country. It's like we've, fallen into this energy. And when we're in a thrive state, that's when things really come together. So I had said to him recently, he was talking about something, and I go, dude, that's survival mode. That's not thriving. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like trying to explain it to him. And I was like, this is what I've been saying to you for years. And so that's why I feel like some people, like my partner, who are really struggling with the unconditional love part, and first and foremost, loving themselves, it's like, oh, it's no big deal. It's okay. I'm okay. We've gotten into this, what do we want to be? What do we want to dream? And it's just a dream, and being like, well, that's okay. Hey, at least I've got a good job, right? Hey, at least I've got a good place to live, right? Hey, at least I've got a nice car to drive. Hey, at least, I get to eat this kind of food or have this thing when I want it. But are you really, like, happy with that? I mean, I know there's overdoing it, right? Like, you don't want to overdo it, because when you overdo it, like if you eat too much, you get a bellyache. If you, if you stay too much out in the sun, you can get sunburnt and like really hurt yourself, right? It's like that's the whole point. Is right now I feel like Spirit's really trying to remind us of our boundaries, and also our bandwidth. The reason why he's upsetting me is because I don't believe I'm dealing with him. I'm upset by his shadow, not by him. I love him. I believe I'm in love with him, but I'm not in love with his shadow. And I think that's the whole point, is like, is that the point? Do we need to be in love with someone's shadow? Or like, what does in love mean? And I feel like this is a topic that we're going to be talking about for a while. So let me see if they want us to pull any more cards before we head out of here. And thank you for showing up. For those of you who showed up, thank you for the likes, and thank you for the shares, all that good stuff. Do we have any more messages before we head out, Spirit? This one like really stuck to my hands. Ooh, breaking bad habits, number 7. Today is a 7 number. Everything goes in cycles. That's really interesting. Thank you, Spirit. I wasn't thinking about it till they said it, but today's the 27th. So it's kind of interesting that we pulled the 27 card. Today is the 27th. And when you add it together, so July is a 7, 7 and 7 is 14, plus 2 is 16. And if you add it together, it's a 7. So that's really interesting. So remember that things are going in cycles, and that they're going to continue to go in cycles, right? And we need to know when to get off the hamster wheel. That's the vibe I'm getting from Spirit. So breaking bad habits, it says self-acceptance and excellent mental health. So this is another thing that I feel like is what's happening with my partner right now is, when we were connected, when we were the most sublime is when they were in therapy and we were still together. Because the things that they didn't understand, like when we'd have an argument or a fight, they would go and talk to their therapist, who was a man. All the other therapists they had dealt with before were women. And I was excited when he, was placed with a man, because I felt like that's perfect. I feel like that's what he needs right now. But sometimes he would say things and I would say, that's him though. And he's like, what? I go, well, I don't want to tell you who your therapist is. I'm like, but like, I like, because he was sharing their energy and their story, Spirit would show me that that was the man putting in his own story. Even though he was more of like, walked more of like a medicine man walk, right? He's a Native American, but he's still a flesh and blood man, right? So like some of the advice that he was giving him was a little outdated. And I told him that. I was like, I feel like what he's saying is true, but I feel like some of that's a little outdated. And, you know, and this therapist that he had was in his older years, his elder years. And so, you know, again, they're going to come from their own experience. So therapy can be really slippery too. It's like, are they pulling it out of a book? Are they pulling it out of a personal experience? So, but it was kind of cool because I felt like in a way it was like he was getting best of both worlds, because then Spirit would come through and tell me, you know, certain things that we, you know, like if it was leaning more that way, or, you know, because sometimes we'll say what we want, like what we want to happen instead of what needs to happen. So it can be a really, really slippery slope. Let's hear what number 7 Breaking Bad Habits has to say. So I feel like that's why I want them more in my orbit, not because I want to control them, you know. And in previous years, I can see why they would think that and feel that. But I'm like, you're going from an old energy that, like, you know, I hear myself, you know, like I hear it, right? And I hear that I'm like trying to control certain things. But there's like, I think, again, it's like there's a fine line between controlling over helping, but also just being the observer and saying, okay, but you're only looking at it from this angle. I'm looking at it from this angle and it's different. So I'm just giving you my fresh perspective and my take on it. A lot of times when we would argue or whatever, you know, he'd be like, I feel like you're trying to control me. And I'm like, no, it's because you need to change that part of you and you don't want to change that part of you. So your shadow voice is telling you that I'm controlling you. You see how I fought through that? Like I fought through my throat chakra, right? Because we don't always want to hear what we need to hear. You know, people fired their therapist or stopped, oh, I'm not going to listen to them, blah, 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 right? Because if they're not saying, like, you know, I've had this where I've had to fire my clients because I'm like, if you're not going to take the advice from Spirit and you're going to do whatever the fuck you want to do anyway, you're wasting my time and your money. Let's just not do this anymore. When you're ready, you will. And so right now I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I feel like it's like a weird time. It's like, is he ready and he's just not doing it? Or he's really genuinely not ready. So I feel when we're together that he's ready. And I feel that he's running away from love because that's what he's done the whole fucking time we were together. And I'm like, and I'm at the place where I'm like, I want to run towards love, not away from love. Every day I encourage myself to run towards love and not away from it. And I don't want people in my orbit that are constantly running away from love. You know, it's like it's a personal thing, and everyone will come to their time when it's time. And some in this lifetime on earth, in this incarnation, may never ever change ever. They may never find it. And that's why I think I've been saying to Spirit, like, if this is who he told me this is who he is, if this is who he is, then I want off his fucking merry-go-round. Then I don't want to be in his fucking orbit anymore because it hurts. It's painful. Even when I take my emotions out of it and I just step aside, I'm like, it's just a hurtful energy. It just doesn't feel good to be there. So, anyway, okay, so symbol history. This symbol, which was used in the Middle Ages as an amulet against addiction, bad habits, and a loss of faith, depicts an 8-spoked wheel within a circle. For early Christians, in times when they were persecuted for their faith, the wheel represented a secret symbol that showed they were a follower of Christ. The 3 bars intersecting the middle line on the left side represent the Holy Trinity, or in later times, the unity of mind, body, and soul. The letters A and M at the top stand for Anno Mundi, which translates as in the year of the world in Latin. The letters T and R on the right stand for the word Trisagion, Trisagion, I have no clue, which is an ancient Chinese prayer that states, Holy God, holy mighty, holy immortal, have mercy on us. That's interesting. Now I'm going to put pictures of these in the, you'll see them either in the post or the my community section. The divination is, it's not always easy living here on earth. The human body and mind can be perceived by some as being deeply flawed and prone to vice and living in a coarse physical world. Man, heart, throat chakra, you guys. Shit. Physical world can take its toll on sensitive types. The dense energy of the human body contains a soul full of light, and it can sometimes feel like a bird trapped in a cage. This symbol is not a lecture on trying to limit behaviors that are prone to judgment from others or an apparent lack of willpower. Instead, this symbol encourages you to find your center and be true to yourself and the choices you make. I mean, when I was reading that, I literally saw Spirit was like, so insert your story here. But for me, they're like, I have got to find a way. This is my challenge. I have got to find a way that when I'm with him, that I don't take it personally, that I know that it's not really him talking, right? It's kind of like when you know somebody loves you, or like, you know, an animal loves you, but like they bark at you or they bite you or they hurt you. And later on, they're like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And it's like, it's okay. You know, it's not okay, right? Like in the big picture, it's not okay to hurt people. It's not okay to bite people. It's not okay to do that. However, when we love people, you know, it's interesting because I'm hearing myself, I was raised in a very strong unconditional love, um, well, a non-unconditional love, meaning like they loved me, but they didn't like me. They would tell me they loved me, but they didn't like me, or they didn't like my style, or they didn't like whatever, but they loved me because I was, you know, their family member or whatever, but they didn't like me. And I'm hearing now that's what I'm doing with Alder. It's like, I love him, but I don't really like him. And so now this is the time where I'm going to have to really put up or shut up, you know, like, what does that mean? And I definitely still want to have a conversation with him. And I speak freely on these because he rarely watches my stuff. Like, I don't even think he follows my thing anymore, but he rarely watches my stuff. And that's not like why I'm talking about it. I'm just saying, like, this is a place for me to work my stuff out. Because the other thing too is, I think Alder and I, because we're such loners, that we depended on each other to be each other's friend, family, lover, significant other, you know, sounding board, you know, whatever. And it's like, no, that's why we have friends. That's why we have, you know, but I feel like I want to be in a relationship with somebody that I can be 100% myself. Like, I should be able to, I mean, let's put it this way. I don't personally, you know, being a triple Sag, my moon in Scorpio, my third deacon in Leo, like, for me personally, I don't feel comfortable in a romantic partnership with somebody that I'm like, you know what? I don't think I can talk to you about this. I'm going to reach out to one of my girlfriends instead. That seems odd to me. If my partner is not my best friend that I can't talk to about, you know, I mean, obviously, if there were things where I'm like, hey, I want to talk to you about the latest period panties, you know what I mean? Like, maybe Alder doesn't give a shit about that, right? Like, that's something that's different. Like, you know, I might call my girlfriends and be like, hey, did you hear, you know, but when I'm talking about like serious things or heavy things and they can't take it, or they can't handle it, then I don't feel like I'm with the right person, because I don't feel like I personally, and feel free to comment below, and you're not going to, like, you know, if you don't agree, like, tell me, because, you know, sometimes, like, you need to hear somebody else's insight. Like, you guys might be, you know me, especially, you know, those who've been with us a long time, like, you know me, you know, it's like, I mean, I get that I'm in an energy that right now I'm in an enclosed case of enclosed glass case of emotion, right? Like, so everything's running high because it's the fire energy and the retrogrades, and you know what I mean, and all of these things that are happening, you know, with the floods and fires and volcanoes and the presidents and the leaders and right, like, it just feels like so overwhelming. But I don't know, I guess for me, I don't think it's too much to ask that my partner be my best friend that I can talk to when I'm having a sad moment. It's like, if you can't handle like that, or like sometimes when I get really excited, I could tell that it irritates him. And my family was that way, and I said that to him. I go, you're so much like my family. And that's why I think I want to break up with him all the time, because I'm like, I see where this went with my family, and I don't really see this going anywhere else. But yet when I tell him that I'm going to go, when I tell him like, whatever, he's like, no, I want to be with you. And it's like, well, then, you know what? Maybe I need to start like setting my own, boundaries and saying, well, if you want to be with me, then you have to respond to my texts. And if you want to be with me, then you have to open your heart chakra and you have to really work with it. If you want to be with me, then, maybe you shouldn't be, watching these things. Let's put it this way. There's been a few times where Alder and I have spent time together and like he's weird around his phone. And meaning like if he takes me to the grocery store and he waits in the car, if I come up and he's watching something and he doesn't hear me walk up, he does this kind of thing where he's like, oh, like, and I've said to him a few times, like, what are you watching that you don't want me to know you're watching? And he's like, oh, nothing, or like one time, a lot of times when we run errands, I don't bring my phone, I don't have my phone on a lot. Like my phone sits in a fucking drawer, so like I'll say, like just recently we had this conversation because we were going by our favorite takeout place and we both had been working our asses off and I was so tired and I'm like, I don't feel like cooking. I'm like, do you want to get some rolls? I'm like, because I'd like to get some rolls. And he was like, yeah, that sounds good. And I was like, he's like, call it in. And I said, I don't have my phone. And he's got to like set it up on his phone. Like he doesn't want to just hand me his phone. I'm like literally sitting next to him in the car. How could I, like, what am I going to look at? You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to, like, I'm going to call the food place, but it's like he didn't want me to like see what he's been looking at on online. And I'm like, well, you know what? The last time you acted like that was when you were cheating on me. And I said, the last time you acted like that was when you were fucking feeding your sex addictions and looking at porn sites. He's like, I'm not. And I go, well, then why are you acting like that? If you have something to fucking hide, it's like, then you really have something to hide, or you are just in such a bad habit of being in that, like, oh, somebody's going to find out, somebody's going to tell, someone's going to, it's like, what kind of energy is that? And I just don't understand it because I'm an open book. Now, I'm not saying everyone has to be like me. I'm just saying, like, what are you hiding? And he tells me he's not hiding anything, but I'm like, I don't want to be with someone who's so fucking secretive. It's weird. I think it's one thing to have some things to yourself. I think that's natural to, like, maybe you have a dream in your head, or maybe you start, writing a book or something and you want to keep it to yourself. That's one thing. But like something like that to me is, there's something's not right. And because I've been with them for 10 years, like that was like that's how I found out that he was cheating on me. The first year we were together, that's how I found out he was cheating on me, because my phone died and he wanted me to look something up. But what he didn't take into account was that when I went to go, and we were driving together and everything was fine, but what he didn't take into account was that I was going to go online, and when I started to type in a word, it starts to fill it in for you. And the word that I started to like type was innocent, but it aligned with a word with some of the porn sites that he had been looking on. And I know that's kind of that's how the sweater unraveled. But I was meant to find out. It was meant to happen. It was meant to, you know what I mean? Like everything was meant to be. So that's why I said to him, like, what part of you wants me to think that that thinks you're an asshole by not responding to me, by not, whatever, like, what's going on there? There's something going on there. When I looked down, it was 212, which is also number 5, which is about change and transformation. So it's time for us to break these fucking habits, The divination of this card is, it's not always living here on earth. The human body and mind can be perceived by some as being deeply flawed and prone to vice, and living in a coarse physical world can take its toll on sensitive types. The dense energy of the human body contains a soul full of light and is, I know I'm reading it again, and it can sometimes feel like a bird trapped in a cage. This symbol is not a lecture on trying to limit behaviors that are prone to judgment from others, or on an apparent lack of willpower. Instead, the symbol encourages you to find your center and be true to yourself and the choices you make. So, it's like, so am I judging him? Am I judging, whatever? Or is it me just saying, like, or is it the lack of my willpower to like stick this out with him and like help him through this and hold his hand through this? And, but I think maybe this is why we're talking about this. Maybe you're having issues with your partner as well. If you're having issues with your partner, this is what they're trying to show us. We all create bad habits of some kind, quote unquote, bad bad habits, meaning like a habit that's not really good for us, because the key words are self-acceptance and excellent mental health. Well, to me, if he was in good mental health, he wouldn't be concerned about what I'm going to find on his phone. And then that makes me, because when I said to him, I'm like, are you doing something like that I would be upset if I found it? He's like, no. I'm like, well, then why are you acting like that? Like, sort it out. What's going on there? And because I'm an empath and a telepathic medium, I'm like, something tells me you're lying. And he's only lying to himself, because it's like, I mean, I told him, and I said it in an extreme way last year. I said TikTok motherfucker, because I was like, I'm done with this shit. When I say like that and I talk to him like that, it's like I'm not talking to him like that. I'm talking to Ed. I'm talking to his old energy, his earthbound fucking, like, who is trapped in this very sad, menacing energy that, like, just does not want to be seen, does not want to be heard, does not want to have love. They've been hurt too much. They've hurt others. They don't think they deserve love. They don't think they deserve, whatever. But when I talk to him now, and this persona of who I believe he truly is, Alder, I'm like, that's a loving being. That's a light being. But it's like, again, I don't want to spend any more time or energy around someone that keeps in the loop de loop, loop de loop, loop de loop, won't get out of the fucking habit. The only way to get out of a bad habit is to get the fuck out of it. That's the only way. And you have to make the choice every day. Do I put that, like, I wanted chocolate the other day. I was craving chocolate, but for a few weeks, Spirit kind of pulled me off chocolate, and I wasn't like understanding it, but I was craving it so bad. And I ended up, getting some chocolate the other day. It was really good. But then, I had some on Thursday, had some on Friday, and on Saturday I try to eat a lot, basically from Friday night until Saturday, till today. On Sundays, when I do Sacred Sunday, I do everything in my power to eat as, like, clean as I can, so that my body can handle all the energy that's coming through. So I really wanted chocolate again yesterday, but I didn't, because I was like, I'll have some after the session today. Because as much as I love dark chocolate, it can sometimes imbalance my energy, because it's a stimulant, and I'm really sensitive to stimulants. So it's not that Spirit's saying, oh, I can't have the dark chocolate. They know it's good for me. They want me to have it, but they're like, no, like last night, I used my pendulum on the foods I'm going to eat. I went to bed, turned my phone off, and I slept like almost 9 hours last night. Not all the way through, because I'm still dealing with the traffic and all the crap that where I live. But it's like they're showing me, it's like everything has a time and a place. So a habit doesn't have to necessarily be bad, right? Because I just told you, my new habit, my new habitual experience is, when I'm doing spirit work, or when I'm doing readings or things like that, Spirit just pushes me to take better care of myself, get more sleep, eat better, don't put myself in wiry situations or third dimensional energy, or, you know what I mean? So that I can, do the work that I'm doing. But the more I stay in the third dimensional energy, the harder it is to, like, pull myself back into the fifth dimensional energy. And that's why everyone is so fucking tired right now, because everybody's straddling multiple, energies and universe and dimensions, and it's exhausting. So they're saying, in order for us to manifest our dreams, we must, it says, constant upheaval, dramas, and emotional outbursts could be an indicator that you are not following your higher life path. Pay attention to your negative emotions. What are they trying to tell you? I mean, look at, I just said, I'm like, basically, since Leo came in, it's like, in this season, you guys are really seeing, like, my rawness, my real, like, how this energy is affecting me, because most of the time I'm like, la 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 la, and I'm talking about that, and I love the world, and la la la, and I am that. But like right now, I'm dealing with a lot of heavy things, and his moon is in fire, which moon is connected to, our moon is connected to our emotions. It's connected to our heart and our heart chakra, so it's like the warrior side of me just wants to get in there and rip it open and just be like, stop, like, leave him alone. It's almost like I want to go to his, like, dark side and his demons and just, like, beat the fuck out of him and just be like, leave him alone so he can fucking be who he's supposed to be, so we can go do our work here, like, get out of here. But me trying to move it, just when I read that sentence, it's like I can hear, right, the upheaval, dramas, emotional outbursts. It's like I'm the polar opposite of him, right? He's a triple Gemini and his moon's in Sag. Well, it's like he's taking like the darkest sides of Gemini and flying with those instead of doing the light, fun side of Gemini, of going with the flow and the air energy of it, instead of in this dense, like kept energy that he's like kept in this box. And I'm like, get the fuck out of the box, man. Just get out of the box. But he's only going to get out of the box when he's ready to get out of the box. But we've been having these conversations. Drink some more water. And the aunt just came back. You know, I even said to him, I'm like, why don't we go see a therapist together so that we can try and understand each other a little bit better? Oh my gosh, he looked like I had asked him if he wanted to go run through fire pits together, and you know what I mean? Drink some water. No, he was like, I could tell. And I was like, what if my first marriage was like that? I said the only way that I would not do a divorce was if we got counseling, and we did, and it was going really well until he like decided to make changes and whatever. And our therapist was like, it's not going to last. Like that's not what he wants. It's like, there's a part of him that wants to be with you, but the part of him that wants to be like in a different place is more powerful than how he feels about you. And that's basically how I feel now. And that's probably where some of my sadness is coming from. Cause I'm like, well, obviously you're making your choice, you know, because if he really wanted to be with me, he would try harder. Whether he's in the dark night of the soul or not, he would try harder. And it's like, he's trying, but like, not really, you know? Jessica says, my guy has been holding space for me. I've been trying to get into a regular spiritual practice and have had a terrible time being consistent. Oh, that's really cool. So when he's holding space for you, meaning like he's trying to push you to stay in your spiritual practices? That's cool. That's really cool. That's powerful. That's really, really powerful. Um, Well, and it's interesting because right here it says pay attention to your negative emotions. What are they trying to tell you? So, like, I'm having these negative emotions with him, and what I feel like they're trying to tell me, like, because I've been in a fight or flight so much in my life too, and in survival mode, and have been doing everything I can to be in thriving mode and be happy and all that, I feel like that's the negative emotions are trying to tell me, like, it, for me, I feel like they're trying to tell me to disengage with him because I'm trying to force something that's not ready. I'm trying to force something that's, but what it feels like is it feels like he does not want to be with me, because to me, it's like the proof's in the pudding. He's trying, but like, is he? Because I feel like if you take 2 steps forward and then you take 2 steps back, you know what I'm saying? Like, eh, it's kind of like it's a dance. And for me, it's like I'm striving and thriving for consistency because I feel like consistency is what brings positive and like current change is the consistency, right? Like I could do this or I could do that. Like, right? Like every day we have choices. We get to make the choice. Do we want to be in it or do we not want to be in it? And I feel like if you're not making the consistent choice to be there, then that is your choice. Then that is right. So this says expecting people to act in a certain way or forcing yourself to act in a certain way can lead to breakdowns, which is exactly what's happening. I want him to be the way he was when he was in alder energy, like the loving, considerate, cared about me, but he was only in that energy when he was with me all the time because I'm a loving energy. Why I asked him to leave last year and to figure his shit out was that he was draining me. And I was like, you can't keep using my energy. And then after a while, he's like, I'm not really like that. I'm just being that way because of you. And I was like, okay. And I heard him. I listened. But what I was hearing wasn't that. What I was hearing was that he had gone back into being free again. And he's like, I'm not going to get in trouble. But what was weird to me was, why do you ever think you're fucking getting into trouble in the first place? Like, I'm not your mother. You know what I mean? And so that's why it's been really frustrating. And I feel like here we are again, going on the fucking hamster wheel. It's like we're back to this again. So why I want to step out and completely like break free of him is that I don't think he's going to change this. Not that I don't believe he can. I know he can. He's done it. He did it when he was with me. But now he's telling me that the person that he was when he was with me wasn't really him. And the person that he is now is who he is. I vehemently disagree. I think he went back into the old habits, old behaviors. The thing with the phone recently tells me different. His actions towards me tells me different. His immature behavior and not acting like an adult tells me different. I'm like, no, you are a 17-year-old trapped in a 50 fucking 3-year-old body. Whether you think it or not, whether you see, I'm like, I am telling you what I see from the outside. So that's where my frustration lies, where I'm like, I would rather be free and just completely break free from him completely. Oh my gosh, that little fly is back. He's just hanging out. Hey, what's up, dude? And he's here to talk to us, right? He's like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's not holding space for me. He may be taking me to the store and, you know, providing for me, but those are like, that's okay. You're taking me in your car. You're taking, you know what I mean? Like, that's not the same. That's not nearly the same. Holding space is like, is completely opposite of what I feel like we're at right now. So yay, that's awesome, Jessica. That's a very loving, kind person. That's awesome. And I'm not saying that Alder's not. I'm just saying that, like, you know, let's put it this way. If you guys remember, what really turned Alder around is when he tried to kill himself and he lived. Then he, like, you know, a lot of things changed. And he was a lot more, like you said, like holding space for me. Jessica's partner went through a really traumatic event and lost, you know, a part of their leg. And they're also a biker, you know, like a motorcycle rider. And that is a huge thing. That's a huge fucking massive thing. And I love motorcycles, and I know a lot of people who love them. I have a lot of friends and family throughout the years who belong to a lot of different clubs and things like that. So there's, you know, a beautiful energy and brotherhood and sisterhood in those groups, you know. So that's a pretty devastating thing. So I can see them coming more into their spirituality during that, you know, and maybe they haven't gone through the dark night of the soul yet either. You know, that's a really big thing too. But that's where I feel like I've been holding space for Alder while they're going through the dark night of the soul. But I feel like now that it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel like that. It just feels like they're just choosing not to change. So, you know, and I can't force someone to do that. And that's why I'm like, can I go now? Like, if he's choosing not to change, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't make him, you know. And when Bubba, the last 6 months of Bubba's life, she kept saying, don't let him go, don't let him go. And the day that she died and we were with her, she was telling me, like, don't let him go. He's going to come back. He's going to come back. And I was like, I don't know how much more I can handle, Bubba. And she's like, he's going to come back. Well, it's been over a year. And I'm like, I would just almost rather not have him in my life at all and let him work through this than, like, try and work through this with him. But I hear myself wanting to run away, right? Like, I feel like I'm going to start crying right now because I feel like I'm hearing myself. And not to compare our people. I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not surprised that he's still in that spiritual state, because Alder was too, you know, like, because he realized, like, holy shit, like, I can't just, like, kill myself and get out of this. Like, I have to change this. I have to stop my sex addictions. I have to stop my, you know, blah, blah, blah. Nobody else is going to stop that but me. Anyway, so getting back, this says, start with self-acceptance. Let others be who they are and let yourself be you. Employ this symbol to help you make the small, easy changes you want to make to start living your best life. So, yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes I get the medicine, you know, right here in front of you guys. You get to witness, like, my process. You get to witness, like, what I'm going through. It's like, that's what I said. I feel like at some point I'll probably look back on this and be like, I'll probably feel sad for myself, you know, not sorry for myself, but, like, sad that, you know, this is such a tough time, because it is, you know. When I was like, I'm happy to let you go, and not because I don't love you, it's because I love him that I would rather let him go than keep doing this for either of us. You know, I got shit to do. I'm fucking working. I'm so busy, like, all the time. And I'm not saying he's not worth it and I'm not worth it and our relationship's not worth it. I'm just saying, like, when a horse is dead, it's dead. You don't keep beating it. You let it go and you move on. So I'm at the point now where I'm like I'm happy to move on, and if we come back together, we come back together. And if we don't, we don't. And, I feel like I went through this last year after, my birthday. If you guys remember my birthday, I know he knows what was happening. Like, I feel like what he did to me last year around my birthday was like so fucked up that, like, let's put it this way, in 10 years, he's done some of the most fucked up shit to me that, like, I just want to be like, fuck off. Take you and your big fucking dick and go somewhere else because I don't want you here anymore. I don't want you in my world. I don't want, you know what I mean? That's what I want to do right now. Like, I want to just be like, go. But then there's this other side of me that's like, I know that he is Alder and that it's just like, because it's not even Ed. It's just like, I don't even know if it's him. There are days where I'm like, I don't even know if it's him. I swear to God, I don't, because he's a triple Gemini. He has so many personalities and he's different all the time that I'm like, I'm not the right person for him, Spirit. I am not the right person for him. I'm too fucking sensitive. Like, same with my family. It's like, I loved my family, but they were so insensitive. They were so hurtful. They were so mean to me. And I just was like, fuck this shit, man. Like, why am I going to keep doing this? And that's how I feel about him. I'm like, why do I continue to keep setting myself up or putting myself in these situations with him where he's, it's like I'm vulnerable and he's like the fucking creepy villain twisting his mustache. Like, when I'm vulnerable and I'm loving, it's like when he goes for the fucking jugular. And that's exactly what my family did to me. Every time. And it took me years to stop being that person. It took me years to, like, become who I am today. And so obviously he's a mirror for me right now, right? Like, obviously, like, I see that, I hear that, like, I'm hearing myself talking. I know if I went back and I listened to this, I'll probably, when I'm calm and centered later, I'll be like, oh my gosh, like, I really put it out there. But at the same time, I feel like he doesn't hear me. He doesn't hear my pain. He doesn't hear my suffering. He doesn't feel my pain and he doesn't feel my suffering because he can't hear himself. He can't feel his own pain and suffering. People who truly love themselves don't hurt or inflict pain on others. I know he knows that it hurts my feelings when he does certain things, and I act like it doesn't bother me or I act like it doesn't hurt me, but I know deep down he knows that it does. Like, last year on my birthday, when he was so awful to me, I was like, when we did finally, like, have a good moment, we spoke about it again and I was like, you purposely hurt me. I'm like, that was really fucking mean, man. I was like, I know, like, because we were separated. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to tell you really quickly. So we were basically separated and I wanted to go see Wicked for my birthday. I asked him if he could drive. I said, do you want to be with me on my birthday? If you don't, it's okay. I'm like, you don't have to be. But we were trying to, at that point, we were trying again. We were trying to work on our relationship. And long story short, when I asked him, I said, I want to go see Wicked for my birthday. And my birthday was on Friday the 13th, and 13 is the number of the witch and the divine feminine and witchy, witchy, witchy. And I was like, it's so perfect. But if you don't want to go, I'm like, will you at least, can you drop me off downtown, like, early in the day, and I'll spend the day downtown. I'm like, I have no problem spending my birthday by myself. I've actually had many magical birthdays where it's just me. And especially if I go out into the world and I tell people it's my birthday, I don't care. I'll be like, oh, I'm celebrating my birthday, and I've gotten, like, free meals and, like, things, whatever. It's, like, really fun. So I was fine. I was like, if you don't want to spend time with me on my birthday, you don't have to. He's like, no, no, no. He's like, I want to. And I was like, okay. And I go, well, like, as friends or like a friend date or like on a date, like, and he's like, no, like a date. And I was like, okay. And he proceeded to show up late, almost an hour late. We almost missed dinner. At dinner, he treated me like shit. At dinner, or at the movie, he was, like, standoffish. He wouldn't hold my hand. He wouldn't, it was just really fucking weird. And it's a form of narcissism. It's a form of control. It's a form of gaslighting, like, all these horrible things. And I let it go. And then a few days later, he came over and I told him I was really upset and I had this dream, about how he was pushing me away and he didn't want to be with me. And oh my God, he was a monster. He was like a monster to me. And I was like, fuck you, dude. I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm like, we are done. And Bubba passed away 4 or 5 weeks later. And maybe it's like 5 weeks later. And it took us a long time to kind of build back up to things again. So that's why I'm so frustrated, because this merry-go-round with him is so unhealthy that if this were somebody else and somebody asked me, if somebody asked me for advice on my own relationship, I would tell them to cut them out of their life until they were ready, And so it's like, I kind of feel like that's where I'm at again, where it's like, I told him that I was okay with him going at his own pace, but it's hard when I'm a telepathic medium. And I know that it's not that he's not going at his own pace. It's because he's not going to. He won't do it unless I force him to do it. And I don't want to force anybody to do anything. And if he's not ready for that, then I guess I'm answering my own question. So there I am, airing my dirty laundry, so to speak, out there for all to hear. But so it is, and it's interesting because I don't know what time we're going to hang out tomorrow, but I know that I'm definitely going to have to get to a good place and a meditative state before I have any conversation with him, because the energy is running high. And the energy is running high on the planet in general. And I feel like that's what they're trying to tell us. And maybe my story is for you too. Maybe you're in a place where there's somebody who, isn't being authentic, or they're, living under, the guise of a mask of someone that they say they are, but they really aren't. Because, you can talk till you're blue in the face, but actions speak way louder than words. And to me, it's like, you can tell me one thing, but as I always say, you put lipstick on a pig and it might be cute, but it's still a fucking pig. And you probably shouldn't put lipstick on a pig because, maybe the pig doesn't really want to wear lipstick. And I feel like just because he wants to be with me doesn't mean he gets to be with me. And I think I've been selling myself short for way too long. Interesting, the next card I pulled was water, which is the number 18, which is also the number 9. Work with the element of water for healing and purification. So it sounds like maybe some of you guys need to get out and be by some water. Let me see if they want me to pull any more cards before we go, because I'm starting to feel really tired. Do you want to pull any more cards? The next one is number 8. Oh, another 8. Successful career. Happy working environment. Pay rises and promotions. Yay! So things are looking up. Things are looking good. Things are looking good. But unfortunately, maybe this is just a sign. You just came outside. Jessica said, I just came outside by the pool. And she also said, I'm with you, sister. Yeah. I think that there are just some things that we just have to do. Nice that you have a pool, by the way. That sounds nice. Well, you're in Nevada. I'm glad you have a pool. What's the temperature there today, Jessica, right now? We just pulled number 6, self-confidence, strong self-belief and sense of worth. That's the key right there. What's interesting is Alder's polar opposite is so sweet and so soft and so lovey and divine, but he's got this big dick, I'm the man, I'm gonna be the man, shell exterior. She said, not bad, 96. Oh, 96. Oh, it's 70 degrees here. Oh my God, 96. But that's someone who does not like heat. If you like heat, you'd probably love it. But oh my gosh, not me. Actually, Alder would love that. Speaking of, he loves dry heat. That's what I'm saying. We're such polar opposites, where I'm just I even said that to him. I'm do you feel you want to live in the desert? He's like, no. I'm like, oh, because he does really like the dry heat. Oh, yeah, no, I can't. Even with a pool, no. See, anything over 85, I need air conditioning. It's something shuts down. I think it's all my fire. It's my triple Sag and my third deacon in Leo. I swear to God, it is. And even water, because my moon's water. It's like if it gets too hot, it spoils. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't work for me. Anyway, but so take some time this week to, I feel like basically what they're showing us is this is basically all the energies that we're going to be working with over this Lionsgate portal. I have a feeling that we'll be coming back around to some of these conversations. And let's hope that next Sunday, that like when we get together again, that I'll have a positive outlook and a positive conversation with Alder, because I don't know any other, honestly, at this point, I don't know what else to do. It's hard. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like I said, it doesn't negate the fact that I love him. Like I love him. Like I know that that good person is there, but I also don't think that I'm meant to deal with their fucking shit. I don't think any of us are. If it's too much, then we go. Like if it doesn't feel right, then right. Like what do I always say? The air hurts my face. Why do I live in a place where the air hurts my face? It's like, if he's just going to keep trampling on my fucking heart, like, I mean, am I supposed to become some stoic, like non-feeling fucking robot? Right? Like my fire says no. Computer says no. You guys remember that fucking oh, what's his name? That comedian. He had a show, a British show, and he was on America's or Britain's Got Talent as a judge too. I can't think of his name right now, but anyway, when he does the character who, he's like, computer says no. They're like, are you sure? Can you look again? They're like, no. The computer says no. But that's kind of how I feel like. I kind of feel like if we're taking it in and it doesn't feel right, then we have to push it back. And maybe that's what they're trying to say here. And maybe that's what I'm going to have to do tomorrow. And, so send me good energy and well wishes, because it's time. It's really time. I'm honestly so fucking tired of it. There's really no other way for me to say it anymore. It's like, I feel like and it's because I think that's the thing. It's like, I feel like because I am in love with him, that it's easier for me to say, you know what? No, I'm not in love with you. Because to me, it's like, I can't imagine that I would be in love with somebody that treats me like that. Yet I've been in love with people who treated me like that. So if I walk away from my friends and my family, but I stay in this with him, what am I telling myself? And what is he telling me? I mean, I would hope that if he really loved me and cared about me, and I know that I'm putting judgment on it, and I hear everything that we just got from that last card in the book, right? But like in my mind, I guess, because I'm trying to figure this out while I talk to you guys, right? Because in my mind, I'm like, I just don't do that. I can't imagine being that way. And I don't want people in my orbit or in my life that are going, that enjoy hurting my, that enjoy hurting that enjoy hurting my heart. And if it's like, because then it feels like it goes back to the reckoning of like how my family was like, you're just too sensitive. It's you. You're just a fucking pussy. Why are you so sensitive? Why are you being so sensitive? Like, man up. But yet there's a side of Alder that, I mean, loved to lay in my lap and, you know what I mean, put his head in my lap and while I stroke his hair and, and talk baby talk to him and lovey-dovey. Like, he loved that. But now that he's been gone a year, he's gone back into this machismo, macho, I don't fucking feel anything, I'm a fucking dude. And I'm like, well, take your fucking dude and get the fuck out of my life then. Because I don't want that. I don't want that anymore. And I'm declaring it today. No more. So tomorrow it's like, I'm going to say to him, and whether it's an ultimatum or not, I'm just going to say, moving forward, this is what I want in my life. And if you can't do that and you can't fulfill that, then we are not moving forward as trying to be a couple. You can't have it both ways. You can't be like, oh yeah, I want you around, but for what? As your personal battering ram for your fucking bitch? No. That's not how it works. Not in my world, not in my orbit. I will love you, but I will love you from afar. And I will, you bet your bippy, I would much rather be fucking single. I would rather be alone and never talk to him again than keep doing this loop-de-loo for another fucking 10 years of my life, even another month of my life. If that's where he is and he's still in the shadow and his dark night is sold, then we shouldn't be interacting, and as far as I'm concerned. And if that's my all or nothing mentality that I haven't worked through yet, then I guess I'm going to have to find a way to work through that. But where's the fine line? Where's the fine line of boundaries then? Where's the fine line of all or nothing? Where's the fine line? I guess that's what we're going to have to figure out, over this time together. And feel free to comment below. Feel free to, if you find anything, post it in the My Community section. If you're a subscriber, you're free to post whatever you want on my channel in the My Community section. So if something comes across you feel like I need, or, because I hear it and it makes me, you can hear my frustration. I'm frustrated, and it's not for me personally, and all the work that I've done on myself and the controlling aspect from my family, I don't feel like I'm being controlling. I feel like I'm standing up for myself. I feel like I'm saying, like, if anything, it's the opposite. I feel like he's trying to control again. He's trying to control me. He's trying to control our relationship. He's trying to control, and he's like, oh, that doesn't feel comfortable. I'm like, dude, nothing's ever going to make your fucking demon feel comfortable when it comes to the light. You know what I mean? Like, of course it's going to make you feel uncomfortable to fucking put yourself out there, to be vulnerable, to be loving. It's uncomfortable until it's comfortable. Because you're protecting yourself, and that's your ego. And what do we say, right? Like the dark side of Leo is the ego. Me, mine. Well, I'm going to do my best to work on this as much as I can. But I have to be honest with myself, and I have to be honest with him, that I hold my tongue a lot. And I've spent most of my life holding my tongue, holding my emotions, holding my words, candy coating shit, or not, or the opposite, where like I'd say things and people would be like, dude, that was so fucking brutal. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're right. Like, and so, there's got to be a happy medium somewhere in there. And the next 6 months, Spirit told us the next 6 months are going to feel really volatile. And honestly, until 2027, the next year and a half, it's going to feel really uncomfortable. And we have to, not get used to feeling uncomfortable, but like we have to find a way to sit with the uncomfortable energy and not attach our empathic emotions to it. Because I think part of the reason why I get angry and upset with him too is because he's like, I'm constantly working and striving towards love and healing. And we all have a different learning curve and a learning pace. But why I feel like this is selective is because since I've known him, a lot of his stuff is selective. Selective hearing, selecting, whatever. You said your feelings are valid, his are valid for his reality, different realities. Perfect. Exactly. Thank you, Jessica. My feelings are valid, his feelings are valid for our own individual realities, and we're in different realities. Thank you, Jessica. I mean, seriously, I mean that with like, I would clap louder, but I don't want to hurt people's ears that are wearing earbuds. But, like, exactly. I feel like that's what, like, Spirit's been trying to say this whole time. So thank you. Sometimes, exactly what did I say earlier? We need an outsider's perspective. That's why I love when you guys come here, because I'm going through what I'm going through. He's going through what he's going through. My reality and his reality are not the same. Even, and you know what? And that makes me think too, like all those times where I was like, he was like that. And now he's saying, no, I was doing that to please you. Or no, I was doing that, blah, blah, blah. So if that is the truth, then that means that our realities may never align. And maybe that's what they're trying to say, is that we are done. And this is as far as we're ever going to go together. Maybe we'll come back around to each other. Maybe we won't, But, I said recently about that dream I had with an ex and how he was dancing with me and like singing to me and stuff. And I was like, that's the kind of love that I literally deserve. That's what I love. Then that's what I want. Then that's what I deserve. Someone who makes me feel like I can do anything. Somebody who like brings positive energy to my life. You know, and that person was an addict too, and they had their own bullshit and their own problems, and they lied to me about, you know, their drug addictions and their stuff too. But when they were with me, they were with me, and they were present. They were always fucking present. When I'm with Alder, I don't, he's like, he's there, but not there. And that's always been that way. And part of it, I do think, is this triple air energy, and then fire, you know, of his heart, you know. But I can sit here all day long and try and, you know, figure things out. But the truth is, and the bottom line is that we are exactly where we're both supposed to be. And, you know, if we really want to be in a relationship with someone, we have to make an effort. And it cannot always continually be one-sided. You know, when I feel, because the other thing too is, when we decided to take this work trade job on, I told him that I would do as much as I could within what I could do. And now that I am basically doing most of like the heavier lifting of the work trade, you know, being here, watching after the property, taking care of the property. He does mow the lawn at the other property like twice a month. So 2 days out of the month, he goes there to do that. But here, I'm on here 24/7 and dealing with this 24/7. I'm working on this property minimum 8 or 9 hours to 20 hours a week. And he told me that once he didn't have so much responsibility, that he'd be able to do things. Then he says to me the other day, that he doesn't want to, like, just the thought of like coming back together, just he feels so overwhelmed. I'm like, what would change? I'm like, I'm still doing the work around here. I'm like, you know what I mean? It's like nothing I say, like I've taken a huge weight off of him that he doesn't have to do here. And it's like, it's still not enough. It's like, when is it ever going to be enough? Because he's like, oh, you know, always excuses. I'm like, okay, well now I'm physically hurting. Like my body hurts all the time, you guys, like all the time. Like ever since I started working on this, like my body's not meant to do this work. I can feel it. And it, in some ways I feel good and I feel strong, but in other ways I'm like, this doesn't work for me. This isn't the right work trade for me. And so, I'm happy that we're doing one more push on this, but if things don't go the way that I want them to go in the next, like, and I hear myself, I heard what I just said about how I want them to go, right? But I'm saying, like, let's put it this way. I feel the energy of the way Spirit wants me to go. So if my energy and where I'm going doesn't align with his energy and where he's going, then I'll at least be able to take this rig and live on my own and get my driver's license again. And you know what I mean? And this could be my home on wheels where I don't have to depend on him anymore. I don't have to, you know, because I think that's the only thing that's really been keeping us together. I mean, think about it. If I was making enough money to support myself, I don't need him. I wouldn't need him for anything. The only thing he is doing in my life is like buying my groceries, keeping my phone on, you know, and those kind of things, which I know are huge. But I'm saying, like, in terms of a relationship, it's like, well, my brother can do that. You know what I mean? My friends could do that, you know, like in terms of like a relationship, it's like the bare minimum. I just think giving the bare minimum is not enough anymore. It's just not enough, because it's like, well, then what in your life needs to go so that you could put your energy towards what is good for you? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let me see if they want me to, is it in their greatest and highest good for me to read from the book for the successful career and water? No. Are those for shorts? Because I feel like those are, yeah, I feel like those are meant to be for shorts. Okay. Do we have any more cards for the reading? Do we have any more cards for the reading? Oh, fairy magic number 13. Oh, I love that we started with the goddess and we're ending with the goddess energy. Respectfully. How funny. And this says, respectfully work with the fairies to achieve your goals. So if you're going through something similar I am, it sounds like we have to work with the fairies, which, you know, the fairies have a very light energy. You know, they have a much lighter energy and they're so connected to the earth. Like, that's the thing. I mean, I asked him if we could please go camping, because whenever we're in nature together is when we're like, you know, where he's more loving and he's more sensitive and he's more, you know, whatever. But when we don't spend a lot of time together, he's like stuck in his like, I'm a dude and I'm a mobile mechanic and like I do my thing and like blah 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 and like, you know, I don't care if I take a shower, I don't care if I'm clean, and I don't care whatever, I can eat out of that pot and I don't have to wash it, you know, like this. It's just very very heavy masculine, and if I'm being honest, it's just, it, to me personally, it's just kind of gross. Like it just feels so old, it feels archaic and patriarchal and like, you know, like grabbing your fucking dick, like I'm a dude, you know, like I'm 70% masculine in my chart. And I know I've been a man many times in my other lives, but I think that's why I can feel that energy. And I just don't like it. And I'm allowed to say, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's on, and it's not like I don't like it, I need to be it. It's like, no, I don't like it because it doesn't belong here. It's an old fucking outdated energy. Don't fucking tell me one hand, oh, I'm a medicine man, and the next minute you're fucking treating me like fucking pond scum and fucking shit on your shoe. It's not the fucking same. So, you know, it's like it's time for this shit to set itself straight. And, you know, the divine feminine, it's like we can only push back so hard and then we give up. And I've told him that before. I'm like, one of these days, I'm just going to fucking disappear from your life. And you're not going to know where I am or what I'm doing or what's happening. I told my friends that. I told my family that. I don't talk to them anymore either. They don't have my phone number. They've tried to come on my social media to bully me. I fucking blocked them. You know, I've reported them. They don't come on my fucking social media anymore. So, you know, it's like, I don't want it to get to that point with him or with anybody. But if you're in a situation like this, if you're going through what I'm going through, maybe it's not a romantic relationship, you know, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's your boss, it could be anything. I feel like, you know, I can hear my fire. Like I can feel how much I have to push it down. I told you guys, like the anger and the fire has been coming for me for a few days. So like I knew, and I know like the next month is probably going to be very challenging for me. But I also know that I'm going to utilize this fire energy to, you know, I'm taking my power back. I feel like when we keep going, oh, it's okay. Yes, dear. No, it's okay. It's not okay. Because it gets to a point, and listen to me now. Clearly, it's not okay. If it was okay, I wouldn't be this upset. I wouldn't be like raging in this fire energy right now. You know, it's like something needs to be said, something needs to be done. All right, do we have any more cards for anybody else? The sun. Oh, that's so funny. He was born on a Sunday and I was born on a Monday. Number 20. The golden energy of the sun brings fame and fortune, you guys. Exactly. So Sirius is considered the spiritual sun, right? Even though it's a star, it's considered the spiritual sun. So work with Sirius energy. Work with the fairies. You know, they want us to get rid of these bad habits, and some of these bad habits may actually be people. And stop making excuses for them. Oh, they're just going through that. Oh, they're just going through this. Oh, their addictions are better. They're not better. And I'm sorry, but sorry, not sorry. The dark energy, would you say people? Are you saying because it's not just a man thing? Ooh, the abracadabra with wings came out, number 23. Fantastic good fortune and lucky chances. That's interesting. So, okay, so I feel like Jessica's being the adult right now that's like, people, don't just say men. You're right. People, 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 people. But she's right. She's right. Safe and happy travel, number 25. Protection from harm when journeying. So for those of you who are going to be, oh, I said people? Oh, I said people. I'll have to hear it back, and I don't know. Honestly, it's kind of interesting. I feel like Tallulah's left the building, and I feel like Southside Chicago Kelly has kind of been taking over this reading a little bit, you know. But, you know, if I said people, it's probably because we all have masculine and feminine in us, and it's the divine masculine that is the one that's really running amok right now. So whether you're a divine feminine, even right now, like that's my yang energy, right? Like, it's like anger. Anger is a yang energy. It's a masculine energy. And it's not saying all men are angry or all, you know what I'm saying? It's just that You know, when we talk about yin and yang, it's like yin is the divine feminine, yang is the divine masculine. So sun is Ra, and and sun is like Leo is like the leader of the sun energy. That's why Leo is the Lionsgate portal happens during Leo season. The sun is, the spiritual sun of Sirius. It's like it's all connected. It's all connected. So, it makes sense that and interesting that we're doing these on Sunday, on Sacred Sunday. Do we have any more, Spirit? Do we have any more? Do we have any more cards that want to come out? Okay. Insight number 34. Insight opens the third eye to strengthen intention. I don't feel like they want me to read from the book anymore. Number 10, protection. Strong protective magic for the family and the home. So make sure that you guys are smudging. Make sure that you're like, especially if you spend a lot of time like on public transportation, or you're in a job or you're around a lot of people, it's, the energy fields have changed, whether people like it or not. The energy fields have changed. So we have to remember that when we're working with certain energies. Do we have any more cards that want to come through? Number 4, prosperity, a prosperous business with riches and success. So I feel like this is like kind of our yin and yang of this reading. Like half the reading's like, well, got to break some bad habits, but if you do, you're going to have a successful career. You know what I mean? You got to break up with some people. You got to break out of certain situations, but if you do, you're going to have a prosperity in your life. If you lean into the fairy magic and the abracadabra energy of magic, right? Then we're going to be more in line with, our self-confidence and our fire and the goddess energy and the festival. It could be for some of you that you're meant to go to a festival. Whenever that card comes out, like, I feel like, maybe you're wanting to go to, some type of festival, and you're going to meet some new people. Maybe you'll even meet a new love. I just saw this really cute article about this woman who planned this big trip for her and her partner, and they broke up with her like the day before they were supposed to leave, and they're like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna go anyway. And she ended up meeting her new husband. So just when she thought it was like awful, it's like he did her a favor. He did her a favor, because if she had gone with her person, she wouldn't have met them. Oh my gosh, you guys, I asked for one more card. We got number 2, the Tree of Life. True wisdom and making good choices in life. So those of you who know, but those of you who don't, Alder and I met around the Tree of Life. Like, that's literally how we met. So, I feel like he and I are going to have a really big conversation tomorrow. And when I'm like, hey, let's go camping, let's go out in nature, and he's like, maybe. It's like he won't even fucking commit one day to spend one full day with me in nature. We haven't spent one full day together in over a year. We haven't spent a day together that was like, because even with my birthday, he came and picked me up and we went out for the night, but we like went and had dinner. And because we were late, we didn't even get to really enjoy the dinner the way that I wanted to. I mean, it was a great time. I had a good time and everything, but like, we had to keep an eye on the time, and then we went and saw the movie, but like we were together for a total of like maybe 3 or 4 hours. That's like the most he can, like, he's like, that's all I can handle. I'm like, I would believe that if I really thought that was true, but I think it's because he keeps putting limitations on himself, and he has his whole life, instead of just allowing. So when we were together, we could spend days together, camping, hiking, you know what I mean? Having the best time. So it's a choice. It's a physical choice. He's choosing not to spend time with me because he knows the more time he spends with me, the more he opens up, the more loving he gets, the more, you know what I mean? And so his darkness, his shadow won't allow that. His controlling narcissist gaslighter won't allow that. He has to be in control of the situation. What did you say, Jessica? A tree came to me today with I Ching hexagram number 53. Ooh, that's interesting too, because Alder and I are both 53. That's really interesting. So that's really interesting. You're like, no way. She wrote no way. Yeah. So that's interesting. Then the next one is star number 21. The silver energy of a star brings good luck and serendipity. So don't give up. They're saying for some of us, like literally, like I'm literally getting from spirit, like don't give up, because the next one is Trinka 5, number 26, which is also the number 8. And when I saw it, I saw number 8, successful career, happy working environment, pay rises and promotions. And the Trinka 5, 555 is manifesting money and income. So many changes are afoot, tribe. Many changes are afoot for us. Many changes, and we're going to go through, and it's going to feel uncomfortable, and it's going to feel fucking shitty, and it's going to be hard, but we're going to have to have the hard conversations. We're going to have to, like, it's interesting. Thank you so much, Jessica. Seriously, like, thank you so much for holding space for me and for putting that out there today, because I feel like, that's what's so difficult is it's the change and the transformation is inevitable, but it's working through it and how we work through it. That's the most difficult, how we show up for it. So you guys know I like to do this. So when we pulled this many cards, which is a lot, I like to kind of grab them all and see if there's like any other hidden messages in here for anybody else who had questions, or sometimes I like to see if they have me put them in an order of the way that, like, any like closing messages. Do we have any closing messages through the card, spirit? Oh shit. I have a feeling, check out later today or tomorrow, check out in the community section, the goddess came out first again. Interesting. Healing the feminine energy. I mean, honestly, I feel like that's basically what they're saying, because obviously hearing my voice and this anger and whatever, that's my yang energy. So something in my divine feminine hasn't been healed. And that's why I'm taking a lot of my anger out of my relationship with Alder. Because the truth is, when I'm not thinking about Alder, or I'm not like, whatever, like, I'm totally fine. I am. I really am. You see my videos. That's really me. Like, I'm having a good time. I'm dancing. I'm singing. I'm a joyful person. I'm making food. I'm prepping food. I'm, whatever. I'm just this joyful person. But then whenever it gets to this point, can you hear that fly? Whenever it gets to this point again, where he starts this kind of like dark, shadowy, like sludgy energy, it kind of brings me back to it all over again. So interesting. So the next one, number 8, happy working environment, pay rises and promotion, successful career. So I feel like what they're trying to say is, for each of us in our individual stories and our individual paths, the key to our successful career and a happy working environment, pay rises and promotion, is connecting and healing our divine feminine energy from the inside out. There's no other way, Spirit is showing me, right? So I'm glad I'm getting this out, don't take my stuff in. Make sure you smudge after this. I'm going to ring a bell right now, so prepare your ears. I'm going to ring the bell. It's time. You know what I mean? Like, I need to do this. We all need to do this. So if you have a day like, during this time, I feel like we're all going to have a day, or maybe a few days, or maybe this whole cycle, where we're going to feel a lot of rage, a lot of anger, and Spirit saying, confront it, look at it, work through it. Now, that doesn't mean that you're like, you know what, I'm going to go fucking tell them exactly how I feel about them, right? No, instead, I'm working it out here with you guys. And then when I talk to him tomorrow, I'll tell him about this. I never, I always say to him, like, you can go back and watch it, Oh, that was a nice clear one. But at the same time, I'm not going to run away from this, because I feel like, at least for me, it's like, if he's not ready, then he's not ready. But don't keep saying that you're ready when you're not ready. And I feel like he's saying he's ready because he doesn't want to lose me. But yet I'm like, but you can't fucking stay with me and still abuse me. And this, you know what I mean? Like, it's fucked up. It's not right. And he doesn't have a right to do that. He doesn't have a right to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't have a right to do that. Interesting that I just saw healing, wishes come true, achievement, earth, little luxuries, dragonfly, perseverance, happy love, air, interesting. Philosopher's stone, powerful manifestation of wishes and goals. Spirit, heavenly assistance from your angels and guides. Felix Felicitas, which is a powerful symbol to create lucky serendipitous events. One enchanted evening, the perfect night. Love charm, attract a lover, soulmate, or life partner. Labyrinth, raising your energetic vibration, enlightenment. The elements, earth, air, fire, water, create a powerful protection spell. Time to shine creates an energetic resonance for golden opportunities. You're on target, you're following your ideal life path, and the triple spiral. Learning and listening to divine wisdom and joyfully learning life's lessons. So I will take the rest of these cards, and if they have me take pictures of them, I will. And if they have me do anything from the books, I will put them in my community and the post section. So basically, no matter what I put in my community or post, they end up in both. I don't know what YouTube's doing. Yeah, but whatever. It is what it is. So check that out. Do we have any more messages? Jessica, did you have any more questions or anything, or anybody who's here right now? Spirit, do we have any more messages for the tribe today, or we're ready to wrap things up? So thank you, you guys. Speaking of holding space, thank you, Jessica, and all those who've showed up today. Thank you for holding space for me today and for my energy and what I'm dealing with in my personal life. I really love you. Thank you so, so much. No questions. I love you, love you, love you. You are most welcome. You are most welcome. Thank you. Thank you. My gosh, thank you for being here. Also, you guys, I know that some of you guys have asked me to create or to put more things on my Amazon wish list. Look out for that, because I am going to be adding some things. Remember when I got a new charger and they sent me the wrong one? Spirit never had me send it back. I don't know why. And now it's too late. And I think I'm meant to donate it somewhere. So I do need a new charger for my laptop, and they're not that expensive. They're like $15 or something. But if you have Prime, or if you are going to order whatever, $30 or more, it's free shipping. But yeah, so I'm getting the vibe that I feel anyway that Spirit wants me to get a new. It's time for me to get my laptop charger, and I think I need to donate that other charger, or it's because the charger is meant for something else I will have at some point. I don't know. It's the weird, sometimes Spirit has me do really things weird that feel weird to me, like fantastical weird. Like, I don't know why I have this or why they did this, or, I mean, it was just, I even rechecked the order from when I ordered the wrong cord, and I'm like, I probably could still push it and be like, you guys sent me the wrong one, or like whatever, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm supposed to put it somewhere. Like there's a local thrift store, and there's like this other place where she does a lot of like secondhand stuff. So I feel like I'm supposed to do something like that, or maybe it's for one of you guys. I don't know. Does anybody need a new laptop charger and we're supposed to exchange? Maybe you have one that would fit mine. I don't know. It's so bizarre. But either way, I am gonna go through, because there are some things that I've been looking around the house that I really need, and or could use. So I will be doing that in the next like 24 to 48 hours. So you can check back on my list. There'll be things other than just tarot and oracle cards, but always feel free to send any decks through if you want to. And I have my Venmo, but there's no pressure ever for any of the work that I do on this channel. It's always, an option. Prayer is free. It's about the exchange of energy for you and me. That's all it is. So until next time, take really good care of yourselves and each other. And we're going to be holding each other's hands and holding each other up through this Lionsgate portal. And, I don't know if this is like the beginning of something, or I know, Jessica, you get it, wink, wink. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so all is well. Okay. All is well. And I don't know what the next 3 weeks are going to be like. I've been really excited about what they were going to be, but if today's reading or like my energy is any indication of what the next 3 weeks are going to be like, just buckle up. That's all I could say. Buckle up, lean into it, lean into the pain, lean into the crying, lean into the suffering, lean into it, lean into it. And you're only suffering if you allow it to be suffering. Lean into it as a lesson, lean into it as, medicine, however it shows up for you and in your waking state and in your life and in your story. Yeah, so I will see you when I see you. So Friday, so we just did the new moon, or it was like in the description box, there's a link to it, to the group and the pick reading that we did. But that was like welcome Leo season, new moon in Leo, and also Lionsgate portal. But coming up, we have Chiron going retrograde this Wednesday, and then we have the first quarter moon is on Friday. So expect something from Spirit and myself for the first quarter moon reading. In between there, I don't know if I'll do any more readings or not. I do have a lot going on this week. But I will do my best. If I'm called to, I will put something out. If not, I will definitely put something out by Friday, the first, for the first quarter moon, and where we need to take action. And then the week after that will be the week of the Lionsgate portal and the full moon. And there's just a lot going on. And Mercury's still in retrograde, so keep that in mind. Take it easy, take it slow. One breath, one step, one moment at a time. You are not alone out here, right? I mean, I just showed you, like, even though I'm a light worker and I like to stay, whatever. I mean, we're all a walking contradiction right now in some way or another, right? Because we're working through these things because we have good intentions and we're setting good intentions. And everything out there. I mean, do I want things to end with Alder? No. Do I want to break up with him? No. But do I want to still stay in an orbit of this kind of energy? No. So we'll get there. We'll get there together. I love you so much. We'll see you next time. Blessed be. Oh.